And we are back. FOKLZ, episode 23, I believe. Oh, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, it's going all right. How's it going with you? It's been a boring week.
I'll be honest, my dog is driving me nuts right now. So she's had a cone on her head for 10 weeks now. Poor thing. So, but she just bumps into everything. She cannot do it. So she's behind me in the bed. And at the moment, all I can hear is her just trying to scratch her neck, but just hitting the cone. It's just driving me nuts. So if you hear some strange sound, it's my dog. Apart from that, though, I am good. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to start off this pod with something I received in the mail this week, which is amazing. This is from Larry Gorman. If any of you want to get one of these from Larry, he is sending them out free of charge. I think just postage. Let me check his X. So he is at Larry Gorman Photo, and he has sent me this, and it is honestly is brilliant. And it's essentially just like his own like photo diary blog of all the games of Arsenal over the past like 12 months. It's amazing, honestly, mate. And I got that through the mail. He must have messaged me the day before, and it just suddenly appeared. It's wicked. So anyone wants to get their hands on one of these, go check Larry Gorman out and go get yourself one, because they are amazing, honestly. Let's go through housekeeping for tonight, mate. What are we going through? So we have got. Let's bring up old Fabio, our favourite. I like how that's just become our thing. Half and half scarves. Do we think they're acceptable or not? We have got Player of the Month. I'm not too sure about this one. The nominees for the Premier League Hall of Fame 2025. Chelsea, being Chelsea. The overlap, which is going to be really interesting because I know you have not properly watched this. So I am well interested to see a real FOKLZ reaction, because they are my favourites. And then finally, new contracts and a preview of the Forest game. So we just get started and into it.
Yeah.
Apparently, have you heard about this, the half and half scarf thing?
Briefly, not like well.
So essentially, West Ham will not permit the style of scarf in the half and half format for their match against Tottenham. Essentially, it's to stop people getting into the home end if they're away supporters. I mean, I'm quite pro on this, but like just generally, like, what are your thoughts on the scarves themselves? Not like the effect of the scarves and people getting in there, like, you know, in the home end. Like, what are your thoughts of one of these? Would you rock one?
I feel like you're probably gonna know what my opinion is, and it's that, like, I don't really care. Like,
I knew it.
I just like people would. I don't really get it for a Prem game, I will say. I like it for the fact that, like, when you go to European games, especially if you're a smaller team that's not going to be there very often, like a big moment. I know, like, being from Norwich, like, I know when Norwich played Bayern in the Milk Cup in like the 80s, people have them scarves and they still like cherish them to be like, oh look, we beat Bayern, and like, so I kind of like it in that sense. But I do think now they are a little bit like out. They were always kind of weird, but I think now they are a bit outdated, if more. I actually didn't realize about the whole, like, oh, people using it to get into the other side. That actually makes sense. I never really like thought about that as a cause of concern. So, I mean, yeah, if that's the reason, I think in like London derbies having them is a bit weird. Like, I can't lie.
I mean, that picture at Liverpool and Everton, that half, that is horrendous, isn't it? I mean, imagine, and then wearing it as well. Like, I can kind of understand the idea of, you know, like having a ticket and being like, oh, I was there for this game. And it's that kind of thing. But to wear it is just...
Yeah, they're not wearable. They're
wrong.
Put on your wall and like look at it and be like, I was there, but not like, let's go out with it and wear my up and up. Like, it's crazy.
Mate, it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm the same as you. I didn't even really think about the kind of consequences and people going in a home end. But I don't know. I just outlaw them anyway because they are pretty hideous. So maybe we'll just. So what's the ruling? So you can have one and put it on your wall, but you cannot be at the stadium or out in public wearing one of these. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be like a prestigious game or something as well, man. Like I don't know, like West Ham and
Yeah.
Tottenham play each other every bloody season, like twice. Like, why is that interesting?
Do
Like,
we like saying like a World Cup final, Champions League final, that type of thing?
I think for international games they make complete sense. Like I don't have any qualms against for international games. I think it has to be like even like a big cup game or European tie, or like if you're like a team that never gets in the Prem and you're in the Prem one season, you're like, oh, I want to be like we played United, I was there, like that sort of thing. Like if Arsenal got one
Yeah.
against like I don't know, like Brentford, it's like, well, we play them every year. I don't. What's the point? Like.
Yeah. Oh God, could you imagine getting a Brentford one? Like all the scarves you could get. I mean, I guess there must be like collectors that have them probably over the walls, like every single match, that kind of thing. But at that point, well, actually, I was going to say just do tickets, but loads of tickets are e-tickets now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think
There's
that's
no
the cause
real.
and concern of because I remember like I couldn't really afford to go to games, but every single Norwich game I went to when I was a child, I've got like the ticket for. Like I went to the game I went to the Emirates. I watched Arsenal West Brom on Boxing Day like years ago. Giroud scored like an 88th minute winner header, and I've got like the ticket for that and stuff. Like keep it with
Yeah.
me. And like accreditation when I go to like when I used to work for like some clubs and stuff, I've got all my details. It's just cool to keep because it's physical. But when it's like e-tickets and stuff, it's just too woke apparently.
Yeah. To be honest, there's worse things in the world than a half and half scarf, but it's a bit of a dodgy one. It'd be like, do you imagine if they did half and half kits, like a shirt, like a AC Milan and Inter Milan
Oh,
shirt?
that would cause a lot of ruckus. I don't know if they do that one.
Oh,
But like, yeah, no, that's
yeah.
just crazy to think, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I never police anyone and anything because I'm like I'm very weird Don just generally. So I'm not really like I just like let people do what they want. But I do find like I actually like half and half scarves. Like when I went to like Roma, went to watch their game, I was like, if I'm gonna get anything, it'll probably be a half and half scarf. I'd be like, oh, I was at Roma Bologna. Like I'm not gonna be at this game. But I do think
Yeah.
like, do you need it? Like really? It feels like a very European thing to have. And it feels like we're just kind of trying to just have it. But you know what everyone's like in this country, like. No, we can't have fun sometimes. So it's like, wow, better ban that. It's like, oh, just leave it if you
Oh,
want
mate,
it.
we're used to the celebration police, aren't we? You know, you can't, heaven forbid anyone celebrate a goal or a last minute winner or it drives me insane.
Just
Yeah, I
anyone
bet
existed. It's just that. It's just that is
if
what it
there was
is.
an Arsenal fan wearing a half and half scarf in a stadium, guarantee you it's all over the media. It's in, every paper, front page, it's there. Half and half scarves. Arsenal fans aren't even really Arsenal fans, they're only half fans. Like, oh my God, I can imagine it now. But that, to be fair, that Everton Liverpool one is just it's hanging. It's horrible. So there we go. Right, let's move on from that one. Nice and easy one to, get us into this. We'll do proper football chat now, though. So, player of the month, Jack Grealish. Just in general, do you think that's going to be a good move for him?
Yeah.
Or is it too much of a step down?
I don't know. This whole thing is funny. I didn't even know he got my player of the month. I can't lie. I've been so out of it. I feel like for most of this stuff because I've just been like quite a boring week in terms of like news. Really, that's important. But like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I had this conversation yesterday with someone where I was like, you would think Grealish would have gone to a high level team, but I don't know if any other high level teams went in for him because we just don't know. And then I also think like knowing Grealish and what he's like from a social media perspective of online, it does seem like you look at the teams that he played for. He played in Brum, he played in Manchester. Does he want to stay northern to that sort of area? So Liverpool makes a lot of sense. Like I think that might have been something that he would have considered quite a lot. So maybe that's how it ended up working out. I do find it like, I mean, I felt like when they got him on loan, I was like, he's 29. Like, if Grealish is used right, this guy's one of the best players in the league. Like, what? And I couldn't believe they got him. And like, I mean, he's been incredible so far. I can't lie.
I really like their front three, actually. It's one of the better ones outside the top six or the big six. It's yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
I
exciting.
mean, Jai, well, you know, I've been on that guy. That guy's my guy. That guy's insane. He should not be at Everton. But now they've got Dewsbury Hall and Grealish and then Diblin on
Yep.
the bench. And then you think about all this greatness they've got. And then they've got one of the worst strikers I've ever watched in Premier League history up front, who doesn't move. He just stands there, scores a couple of tap-ins per season. I hate him. Play Barry. Barry is so good. And he sits on the bench for Beto. I watched Everton. I watched them against Leeds, and I watched Beto play, and I genuinely was like gouging my eyes out. I was like, "Oh my god, this guy isn't moving." And then he scored in their last game they played against Wolves, and I was like, "No, no, this is not what we want. This is bad propaganda. We don't want him scoring." And I want Barry to play because even Henri gave like the co-sign to Barry. And like
Mm.
anyone who's watched Barry at Villarreal last season, that guy's a menace. He's super good. When they signed him, I was super happy with that. And it's so funny. Everton have like, if you put Barry in there, that front four is insane for their
Yeah, it's
level.
really good.
It's good. I'd be scared of it. Like they were this defensive solid team, and now their defense is pretty like. I mean, Tarkowski's been awful this season so far,
Mm.
but like their attack is scary. Like I mean, Njai's so good. Oh, get that guy.
Oh,
I'll take him.
yeah, he is.
I'll
Yeah.
take him.
I mean,
That's-
I know we kind of started talking about last week, you know, the moves we need to make to progress as a team and what should we be doing next season. Like, how would you feel if the club, say like Gyökeres has a really good season, if we then moved Havertz on and then got Njai in? Is that like wage wise, that's going to be pretty good? Some good money in the bank in terms of transfer. Like, is that like a step forward, like in terms of like future proofing?
Nah,
I don't
like
know how we got onto this. But
I think a Jai would have been a good option if you weren't looking at a Madueke. But now Madueke's here, I just don't really think, because I think Njai is better on the right. If anything, I think he's a better right winger than he is anywhere else. And he's all right on the left as well. I just think that's kind of not really like in our. I don't. If we get rid of Havertz, this is the thing I always say to people. I don't even know who we could go for. Like, it would have to be someone kind of similar, but then the only players that are similar to Havertz are players that probably aren't as good as Havertz. Like in his role, it's such a specific role, and like we don't have to play that role. Like we've said this about many positions, like midfield as well. Like we don't have to do that. We could do something else. But
Miguel Marino.
I mean, it's interesting. Like the one player that reminds me of Havertz in the entire of Europe is a guy called like I think his name's Tikal Kater. I don't know. I've probably said that wrong. He plays for Atalanta, and he used to play for Milan, and he was pretty bad at Milan. But then he went to Atalanta. They use him exactly like Havertz. He's literally lanky, tall, like plays the exact same. He just gets space for everyone else. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like a baby Havertz, but it's like I don't know. It's such a weird one. Such a weird one.
That's an interesting one. I'm going to have a look at him, mate. I have to, yeah, check that out. Back to Grealish, though. So, player of the month. I mean, for me, he would be up there, definitely, and he has started really well. Whether he is number one, I don't know if that's like a part of the media kind of thing, because he's never really got, I don't think he's been as harshly treated as other players in his position would have been. For the amount of money he went to City for, kind of output that he really had, and the reputation that he went there with, I think he's got off lightly. At the same time, people go over the top. Like he has definitely served a purpose there. You know, he's a treble winner. But I do wonder if it's part of this, you know, like, it's Grealish, because I'm looking at the players up there. So this is who scored and their kind of rankings and ratings so far. I mean, we are 3 matches in. I've included other players who haven't played 3 matches because I just thought it'd be interesting to see anyway. So I'm kind of, for me, Dan Ballard, I mean, he's right up there, but I'm not going to give him player of the month right now. João Pedro, he's been really good. And then looking a bit further down, I mean, to be fair, I hate saying it, I think Richarlison's been really good. And then I've included someone, little player of my own. I think Ricardo Calafiori's been unbelievable. these first 3 matches. What do you think? Like, who would you give it to, mate?
Before we continue, I will say that you are like so like laggy. Your camera is. I will
Is
say,
it?
and it is on the stream as well because I just checked.
I might come out a minute, come back in, carry on,
Hold down
mate.
the
Tell
fort.
everyone, and then I will come back in and you can tell me.
So, player of the month. I actually didn't know who was nominated. I know Calafiori was nominated because he plays for Arsenal. And I think Calafiori actually deserves to be nominated. I think he is in that. But it's hard to kind of give it to a left back. I mean, he had some goal contributions. He had 2 assists against Leeds and a goal. I guess that does put him in there. I feel like we didn't win every game. And as a defender, we lost to Liverpool. And I think that kind of stopped him from winning that, unfortunately. I think Grealish is a fair winner, to be honest. Like, I think Grealish was really good. And it's not even just his 4 assists he got in his 2 games. Even the other game he didn't get a goal contribution in, I think he was very, very vital to that team. His play is just so much better. Everton are quite free-flowing going forward right now. And that's a testament to all of them. I think Drewsbury Hall has been, like, incredible. Great to see him playing really well. It's like this sort of hybrid 10 / like, you know, rotation option with Grealish mid-game. I kind of like that a lot. I do think there is a certain level of Grealish being like loved a little bit because obviously the media, and we know what the media like with him. We know that they, you know, might look at him a little bit more than some other players. But I ultimately think that, yeah, I think that's why, but I still think he's been very good. It's just so hard to judge. It's 3 games into the season. A lot of teams have played varying different teams. Like Tottenham have relatively, I mean, they played City away, but the other 2 games were quite easy. You know, United, they played us, but then other than that, they played Fulham and Burnley. So it's just hard to kind of judge. Everyone's played different levels of like, and it's 3 games at the start of the season with a lot of injuries, sort of other problems. And I think, I mean, I think João Pedro's been good. Has he been consistently good in the 3 games? I think Fulham, he was relatively quite unlucky, quite poor, and then I think they got away with it. In the first game against Palace I watched, he weren't great. I watched a little bit of the West Ham game in which that was where he kind of boosted his stats, but I saw a few of the corner goals and was like, not brilliant. I've actually watched Grealish a bit, and I think he deserves it. I mean, you could give it to a defender if you really want, looking at this list, but I don't know. I think with the short sample size, which we have, I think Jack Grealish is the best. I don't know. I just do. But I think in terms of like player of the month, and I saw save of the month went to James Trafford for his save against Brighton. And I thought that save was just a bit like meh. Like I thought like it's kind of it's a good save, don't get me, but it's like one of them saves where it's like, you know, he kind of like the ball's floating in the air. It's quite easy for him to just take it, and then he just kind of like sides it. I couldn't tell you like what other saves have been really good. Like I just don't know. Like I can't remember many great saves off the top of my head in games I've watched in 3 games. But you know, I think overall there's going to be a lot of media darlings at the start. I mean, I think in a sense that's why James Trafford might have won that award as well, because obviously, like, you know, he is a bit of a media darling as well, given he's English. But it happens. And I don't know. If we're like 4 months into the season and then you give an award like this to someone like now, I'm like, I don't know. But always the first player of the month is a bit techie. Like, I remember when Pookie won it, and he deserved to, but he scored a hat trick against Newcastle. And then I think he scored 1 goal in the other 2 games, something like that, like 4 goals in 3 games, something like that. But it was broadly carried by the fact that he scored a hat trick against Newcastle, and it was just so earlier in the season that like people hadn't really got there yet. I think Salah even scored a few goals, but people wanted to give it to Pookie, and like Pookie was great, and then Pookie did nothing for the rest of the season. So it's just one of them things, really, where it's like it takes time, I guess, to kind of like bed it in, and I think that's fine. So I personally, I don't really mind Grealish getting it overall. I think that there might have been better options. Maybe. I mean, it's just hard. It's just really hard to kind of judge, isn't it? Overall. Oh. Oh. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about the situation. I do think Calafiori is a shout, but not. Oh, hello.
I'm back, mate. Have you just said Calafiori's a shout?
I just sat there for like 10 minutes talking about I was like, what do we even talk about now? And I was like, well, let's save the month went to James Trafford, guys. Just talking about that for a bit. Because I did see that.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, yeah. Huh.
You're so much better now. Also, on the stream, the player of the month thing wasn't even up because you weren't loading. So then when you left, it came up, so I could see it. I was like, oh,
How bizarre! That is so random. I mean, I have no idea what's happened there, but there we go. We're back. Who are we going for player of the month then? And I presume it's not James Trafford.
I said Grealish is fine. I actually think, I said that the first player of the month was always a bit techie. Like, I remember when Pookie won it for Norwich, and it was purely just because he's got a hat-trick against Newcastle in the first home game of the season. And they always kind of want to give it to someone fun. Like, I was like, you can't really give it to any defenders because I don't think anyone's defended brilliantly. Like, we've been the best, but even we haven't won every game, so it's kind of hard to give it to us in that sense. And then I look at other positions and I'm like, Pedro was okay, but that was mostly a stat pad against West Ham. Grealish has been good in all 3 games. He got 2 assists in 2 of them. And then the other game he was really good in as well from an individual performance. So I don't hate it. I think, I don't know, it is kind of fun to see Grealish's resurgence. I know some people have quite strong opinions. I speak to some people and they're like, oh, I didn't really rate him when he was at Villa. And I was like, no, this guy at Villa, man, was unstoppable.
Oh, he was so good at Villa. I loved watching him at Villa. Do you remember was it the promotion, the goal?
Yeah.
The guy came on the pitch, didn't they?
That was against Birmingham, the derby.
Yeah.
But the season before he joined Man City in the Prem, he was undeniably one of the best players in the league by far. Everything he did touched the goal. I remember they kept doing this tactic, Aston Villa, where they did that lofted cross from corners to him, outside the box. They did it 4 times in 3 weeks, and he scored all 4. And I was like, come on, guys, surely just marking him at this point, right? But I was just like, this guy, he was so fun at Villa, and it is kind of fun to see a player who we know is actually very good, who kind of got Pep Guardiola'd a little bit. But, it's going to happen when you're at one of the biggest teams in the world. And it's just fun to see him good again because, he's definitely, if he continues this form up, he'll be in the England setup, I'm sure of it. Who's he competing with right now? Rashford. Rashford's, at Barca. Is he going to do brilliant? I think it's up in the air for either of them to have that spot if they want it. So, I mean, it's certainly very interesting.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it, if they got in? I mean, I just like watching him play. I remember him being linked with Tottenham, thinking to myself, oh, that's a player I don't want to see at Tottenham. Like Eze, just regardless of how good he is, he's a player I enjoy watching, and I just don't want to watch Tottenham. So it's I just don't want them there.
I got a good conversation we should actually do. I don't know if we want to do it now at the end, but we should talk about some of the Arsenal guys on international duty, because that is something I have been watching all week, so I can actually have very specific comments.
Should we go for it while we do the preview?
Yeah, we could do it then.
Yeah. We'll kind of add it in there. Yeah, no, that sounds good. I mean, let's go. While we're kind of on awards, we'll go into the Hall of Fame, because for me, I did see one person saying why is Ryan Giggs not in there? And
yep, Adam McCullough said it, and that's the only tweet I didn't even know this was happening, and I saw his tweet, and then I was like, oh, he's complaining. Okay, that's new. and then I saw someone else say it as well, and I was like, all my tweets I've seen about this is just why is Ryan Giggs not in it? Which is fair enough, but still, I was like,
I mean, he's what is he? He must be the most decorated Premier League player. One of the most, highest appearances and things. I mean, I don't want to go into him too much, but I just feel that this is the 5th year, I believe. And out of all the players that have currently been inducted, there's not really anyone that I would put him over. Even as an Arsenal fan, I guess you could argue someone like Ian Wright, but then Wright is more iconic to me. But then he was, I wanted to be him when I was growing up. I can remember my granddad telling me I had to eat, eat your greens, eat your veg, and then you'll be like Ian Wright, you'll score some goals. And so to me, he is one of my idols, but I don't think he gets in there currently. I mean, even if he was in, say, if he was in this list, would you be picking him over like the top tier out of these players?
Mm, maybe not. He definitely should be in this. This is the first time I've seen this list. Bear in mind, I haven't looked at this
Mhm.
list before. Him not being on this list compared to some of these players is kind of crazy. Like, respectfully, how is
Yeah,
Jermaine Defoe on this list ahead of Ryan Giggs?
Ryan
Like,
Giggs isn't.
and like even like I didn't watch a lot of these play. Like even in their prime, out of any of these, I've watched Hazard, Torre,
Mhm.
Silva, Fabregas to an extent. To an extent, I watched him in his prime, and then everyone else I saw like at the age, like end of their career, sort of thing. A little bit. Like I did see Vidic. Vidic was very good when I watched him, but it's still very different. So I'm like,
Oh,
I can't
that's
really
interesting then,
compare.
because yeah, like for me, obviously, I've watched them all. I've probably watched. I'm looking most of these players live. Who have I not seen live? I didn't see Robbie Fowler live. Um, didn't what? Did I see Les Ferdinand live? Don't think so. I can't recall. Like, but then I wouldn't have been looking out for him per se. I need to look back, see if he did play when he played against us. Um, yeah. So like, for you, who's kind of like, say, just top three players that stand out for you that you think, well, even if you haven't watched them, like, week in, week out, who is right up there?
I'd say for his position, Edwin van der Sar, like when I first started watching football, he was like the best keeper for like years. Like comparably
Mm,
like to maybe like some others like Buffon or Neuer who were like around. But in England, he was just undeniable. And I do think that like I don't think there's any better keepers in the Prem ever. Maybe Petr Cech, you can
yeah.
argue, but I think Petr Cech. It's like the thing is with Giggs, you were talking about it, like iconic. I think like being such a longevity player ruins your legacy. Like low key, like Cristiano Ronaldo's
Ooh.
Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy has kind of been like diminished by the fact he has played in Saudi for like 4 years or whatever, and then came back to the Prem and was decent the first year and then fell off a cliff like the 6 months and got released. Like that didn't help him. I don't think like if he just retired, I think it'd be more better. Like I think when I look at some of these players, like I mean, I can't lie to you, I've never watched Les Ferdinand kick a ball ever. I genuinely, if you said to me this is Les Ferdinand, I wouldn't be able to pick him out. I just never hear that name.
Really? That's
I never even
interesting.
like consider that. I only know Robbie. I know Robbie Fowler like well. Like I know like Robbie Fowler and Owen well. But the biggest memory I have of Fowler is that the celebration he did.
Celebration.
Yeah, I don't like. I remember Owen like scoring in the FA Cup final and stuff. Is like I've
Mhm.
seen like I remember that quite like obviously I was like one, but like I do remember it now, like it happening. And like Michael Carrick as well. Like I did watch Michael Carrick play pretty a lot, but he's one of them like I feel like now I would appreciate Michael Carrick a lot, like as a tactics guy, as like a bloody nerd. But I feel like back then I just didn't care. I was like 9 or 10. Like, why am I going to care? This guy passes the ball around a couple of times. I
Yeah,
think
I
for
just feel like he's. I don't know. I'll probably get shot down in the comments for this. Oh, here's another shortcoming. Michael Carrick is overrated. He was underrated. He was underrated. But it's one of these things where over time, then everyone's jumped on the bandwagon of, oh, he was so much better than people remember. And he made that United team tick and da da da. Like, he is not up there with the other, like, DMs and those kind of all DMs of the Premier League, let alone across Europe. Like, you are not going to go, oh, do you know what? I think Michael Carrick is right up there with a Pirlo. Like, no, he's not. There's a reason that England, especially, never did well, and quite often he wasn't like part of it because he just wasn't that good. Like, he was a very good player. He was not like an elite player. Like, there's no way he should be even considered for Hall of Fame. Like,
well, it's
that's
funny
just
we're talking about Ryan Giggs.
mental.
Ryan Giggs is not in it, and Michael Carrick is like in the
Carrick
nominees.
is.
Yeah, I feel like for me the top three is probably at least for players that I've seen consistently is like Van der Sar, Fabregas. Um, I feel like I don't know. Like Hazard's a funny player, man, because like he was so good, but like he was so inconsistent, and then he wasn't that good for the entire time. Like I used to like as a
Mm.
child, I used to love Yaya Toure. Like when he scored 20 Premier League goals in that season, I remember the goal he scored against Villa where he literally just ran past half the team and scored. I was like, oh my god, this guy's insane. He could do everything. And Yaya Toure is a big game player. He scored in multiple FA Cup finals and semis. You know, he
Yep.
was one of the real starting points. I don't know. It's so hard because like I get that Sol Campbell might have been like, I've watched clips of Sol Campbell and I get that he's a good player, but I'm just like critical of especially like defenders from like 20 years ago. I do think their job was a lot easier. And I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, look at some of the people on this list. Gary Neville. There's no way he could do what any of these fullbacks could do nowadays. Like, I feel like I don't know. It's so hard, but like,
Yeah, I know.
I also did think
Yeah,
Vidic
I know
was
what you
like
mean.
class. Like, I think Vidic was like really good when I used to watch him. But I don't know. I didn't like. I think for me, like Fabregas has to be in it because he was insane as like this progressive young attacking midfielder for us, and then he became older and it became this like not non-mover, insane deeper passer, creative machine as like an old man. Like he wasn't old, but he was like late 20s, but like he was a lot
Yeah.
older. And I'm like the fact he did it in two different eras with two different teams at like a very high level. I think like that has to be he has to be in it. Like I think that's going.
I'd argue he is um, the best passer in Premier League history in terms of variation. So I don't think, like, say his long passing, I don't think it's up there with a Paul Scholes. And I don't think, certain, if you're looking at through balls and that like final assist, he's probably not up there with like an Ozil or a De Bruyne. But if you're looking at the full range of passing, I think Fabregas is the best, like of every single type. It's unbelievable. And we've discussed it before, haven't we, about him going to Barca. And, he was in that team, regardless of him often being played out of position. Like he was there. You've got to be some player to be part of that. Yeah, I think Vidic is a really good shout. Did he win Player of the Year? He must have won Player of the Year. I'm wondering if he won it twice. He's one of the captains that have won it the most as well. I think actually, is he the only defender to win Player of the Year?
He might be. Oh, mate, Van Dijk.
Hmm.
It's probably the only other one.
Yeah. So like Vidic should really be in with a shout. Van der Sar's a really good shout. But again, it's interesting. Like he went from Ajax, from like a proper like a world class keeper, over to Juve, then to Fulham, which is just insane that he ended up at Fulham. Probably, I'm probably thinking about it wrong, but I reckon he was probably there for about 5 years, and then United come along and go, oh, hang on, there's this like amazing keeper with unbelievable experience all across Europe. Maybe we should go and get him. And what a buy that is. Yeah, he's definitely up there.
I think
Owen,
I feel like for positions it should be a little bit like the only keepers that are going to be on this list are like who are going to be a Hall of Famer, Van der Sar and Czech. Like realistically, like
Schmeichel.
Yeah, and maybe Schmeichel. Like, and like I feel like other than that, it's quite a limited list. It's like I look at fullbacks, and I wouldn't sit there and say Patrice Evra is the best player in the world. But then I go, well, like what other fullbacks were like that good in the Prem? Like same with Gary Neville. Like I think Gary Neville's job was simple, but ultimately he was still the best at that job at the time, and not many people competed. And like there's not that many great. Like I reckon 10 years in the future, the fullback list will be filled with players, especially like now that centre backs playing fullback.
Oh, that's a good shout, mate.
But I think now,
yeah, players like Trent, especially with the numbers he's put up.
I mean,
yeah, that is a really good shout.
I mean, even like, I guess there's maybe not be that many though, because like you think about it, they are mostly centre backs, but I guess that is that hybrid sort of thing. Like I think like Reece James, for instance, if he weren't injured all the time, I'd be like, well, he's a great player. But I just think like I don't know, it's a really tough one. I think their job is a lot harder nowadays. But in this list, like, I've never watched Teddy Sheringham play. I've never watched Les Ferdinand touch a ball. I've at least watched highlights of Teddy Sheringham because he's like the oldest goal scorer ever.
I mean, he was Player of the Year 1 year. I mean, Michael Owen, Ballon d'Or, should never have won it. I'll be honest, he shouldn't have won that. I think that was also the time where you used to have World Player of the Year and Ballon d'Or separate, so they were like merged later on. Probably after you were born.
I think
mate,
they're separate again,
depressing.
technically, but
are they?
Yeah, I think it's a complicated thing
this?
because the Ballon d'Or is like a French magazine or whatever, and then the World Player of the Year is like the FIFA thing. But people think the Ballon d'Or is more prestigious when I think it's just like a
Yeah.
thing. But they did combine for a bit. I find some of these players quite interesting because Michael Owen is like, obviously I can't really articulate like his like come up, but I get that he came out of nowhere and was like one of the most insane youngsters of all time. And then by like 28, he was like finished. Because I remember watching him for United. Like, that's where I remember him. Like, it's like with Rooney, like I saw Rooney when he was washed at 29, but I also saw Rooney when he was like 26, 25, one of the best players in the world. Like I saw him just carrying United through games, and I was like, wow, okay, this guy's good. Like, so it's like with Michael Owen, it's like one of the things that he had such a high peak, but he didn't have the longevity. And I feel like some players here have a bit of like longevity as well. Like, I mean, Cesc Fabregas had the longevity, like completely compared to these. I mean, Vidic did as well. Like, I think he's very good for a very long time. But I don't know, it's a different role. It's just so hard to compare. Like, how many of these get in? Is it just 3? Oh, two players.
Yeah.
2 players. Wow. But they're not going to put Van der Sar in there. They're going to be like, no, that's it. We're just going to have check. And then
I don't know really how it works as well, because I know the public can vote, but I'm sure there's like a committee type thing as well.
Yeah,
so
it's like Eurovision.
I feel like it's probably one of those things where everyone votes and then they just go, you know what, we don't agree with that, so we'll just change it and just not tell anyone. But there we go. I mean, for me, like Robbie Fowler, fantastic finisher, shouldn't be there. Les Ferdinand, you know, he was good on his day, but shouldn't be there. Jermaine Defoe, I mean, I can't understand that. Carrick, for me, now he's overrated. Patrice Evra was good, but, you know, should he be in the Hall of Fame? Again, no. Sol Campbell's a funny one because I think his personality has twisted the way people look at him now. Like, he is quite abrasive and it's difficult to listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
But I can remember when we got him, he truly was world class. And Barcelona were looking like they were going to go get him. Like, he was that good. And lo and behold, he came to us. And so there's loads of people that are not going to vote for him simply because of that, because they hate him. He was incredible. Like, the way he went for headers and stuff. Like, Gabriel is an absolute force. Like, Sol Campbell was so similar in so many ways. He was unbelievable. David Silva, I think he's probably one of the best midfielders we've had. I don't think yet he should be in the Hall of Fame. I'll have to have a look at who else is in there so far. Like, Gary Neville's a weird one. Because I guess, like, if you were doing Premier League all-time 11, you'd definitely be within a shout of getting there. But
it just seems so prestigious, doesn't it? Like if they are just having 2 players out of this whole thing, which is fair, you want to keep it very prestigious, then I do think you're going to just have too many attackers, and then that is going to be the problem, especially with these voting systems. And also, like, who is that? Yeah, like you said, like, who is voting? Like, me and you have watched some of these players like a lot, and I've watched some of them never. And like some of the others I have an affinity to because I grew up when I was like 13. I'm like, oh, Yaya Toure, he's cool. And like David Silva and stuff, where like you probably won't have that as much. So it's like, who is actually voting on this? Because I tell you what, like, every single person who's my age has this affinity with Hazard. And I don't know if I don't have it because he used to just destroy us and it used to make me so sad. I don't know if that has a part of it. But I also just think, like, I get that Hazard on the ball is one of the best players ever to be in the Prem, but he wasn't ultimately a consistent player. And like, you know, he didn't. There was seasons where he went missing, and like people just didn't care. And I'm just not someone that, like, I prefer consistency. Even if you have
take, mate. I think he robbed Alexis Sanchez one year of Player of the Year.
Yeah,
I genuinely do.
Yeah, I think.
Like, I really do.
Yeah, I know what
I
you're
remember
talking
it
about as
wasn't
well.
that long ago. People were comparing him to Salah, and I think just in terms like it's so interesting, isn't it? Because it's your own personal preference a lot of the time. I would much rather watch Eden Hazard play, but I would prefer having Salah on my team because the efficiency is insane.
Yeah.
And Hazard didn't, have that kind of output any time in his career. Going through, right. So let's go through the list of players that are inducted. So Shearer and Henry were first. And I think that's fair enough, highest all-time goal scorer of the Premier League. And then you've got, the best player of Premier League history in Henry. Then you got Cantona. Yep, fair enough. Roy Keane. I mean, that's obvious. Frank Lampard. Dennis Bergkamp. Steven Gerrard. I mean, there's a lot of players at this point. David Beckham, they're already flushing this out. Wayne Rooney, Patrick Vieira, Aguero, Drogba, and company.
How did David Beckham sneak his way in there? Like he's the worst footballer out of all of them by far. And like even like Drogba is such a Drogba, in my eyes, I look at some of the people on this list and I go like, well, they're better than Drogba. Like Drogba, yet again, from iconic standpoint, one of the most iconic Premier League strikers. From a big game player, like if that's what you want to go for, then fair. Like he is in my eyes. If you make a Hall of Fame in the Prem, I would put Drogba in it. Just if we're not like counting these are really strict rules, because I think Drogba is very iconic, especially for like my age group. Like I think about Drogba, I think about all the goals he scored against us, which is stressful. But like as an individual player, at least on stats wise, or it depends. I guess it depends what you're doing on. He's no way near than some of the others. Like, how are we putting Drogba in before Giggs? Like, that is a fair shout. Like, Giggs isn't the best footballer in the world, but he was consistent for like 15, 20 years, like which is like more than a lot of these players had. And I do think that's like, but like
you look at right. So I'm looking at here appearances and goals between him and Aguero. Aguero played 19. Let me just check. So 21 more games, right? So Aguero played 21 more games. He scored 80 more goals. Like,
and also like player-wise, like you think about who's a better player. Like I watched Aguero play live. I haven't watched Drogba play live. But like Aguero genuinely is like an insane striker. That guy was just a final in a very competitive. Well, maybe it's about the same with Drogba. Then I'll give them that. But I don't know. Like Aguero never was bad. I remember when he didn't get put in the PFA Team of the Year for his first 4 years in the Prem. I remember being a whole thing. He's never been in the team, and he was scoring 20 goals a season, not getting put in it. And I was like, it's not like he's having a bad season. A bad season for Aguero is him being injured and still scoring 15 out of 25 games or something. That's a bad season. I was like Aguero is final, and it's not just his goals as well, just stats. Like Aguero as an individual player was better than Drogba by far. So it's
I do get the kind of argument with. I know what some people will say, and it's the big game player. They will talk about that, and they will also say that he kind of ushered in this new wave of playing one up top. So I think that might be one of those things. And I just look at the other players and I go, well, how did Drogba, right? So Drogba got in that year. And the year after, then Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, Tony Adams got in. Is that the year after? I'm not too sure. And then players like Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole is without doubt the best left back to ever play in the Premier League. He should 100% be in the Hall of Fame because no one else comes close to Ashley Cole. And I just think, well, I don't know. I think it was almost like this thing of well, actually, we haven't got many Chelsea players in, so let's flush it out now. But there we go. How did we get on to that? Anyway, we've got on to Drogba now. So Petr Cech's already in, Rio Ferdinand, Tony Adams, Ashley Cole, Andy Cole. I think sometimes underrated when you think at Newcastle and over at Man United. I mean, who did what? Man City, Portsmouth, Sunderland, I think. He went everywhere. He played at Blackburn. I think he played at Blackburn as well.
Yeah.
And John Terry. John Terry, 5-time champion.
I
So
think all the others are like fair, other than like I don't hate Drogba as much as I hate Beckham. Like, I think Beckham being in it is just like the media thing. Like I did mention it with the Grealish, there was a certain aspect of like the media do love Grealish, so they're like, well, any chance we've got, give him the award,
yeah,
even if he does deserve it or whatever. But like I feel like that is the same with Beckham. Like I don't think Beckham is rightfully in the same. I think everyone else in that category, I can be like, yeah, even Jogba, like, yeah, I can understand. I don't think he should be in there comparably, but I can. There's arguments to be made. I don't really see an argument for Beckham. Like, I like
yeah.
CR7 should be way in there, way more than like he's like 5 times a player as him. Like,
Wait a minute, is he not in it? He's got to be in
he's
it.
got to
Did
be
I
in it,
say his
sure.
name?
Because I remember watching Fulham. I don't know if you saw it. They did like a media thing the other day going into trading, and they were like, "Who's the best Premier League player of all time?" And every single player said one of 3 players. It said Henry, Ronaldo, and De Bruyne, which I thought was so
I
funny.
saw that. Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I was like, yeah, it's such a weird 3, but I was like, I guess that is my gen. Like, I'm probably the same sort of age as most of them. I was like, that's probably the same generation. I can kind of understand it. Um,
As I
although
go through, I don't, I don't think Ronaldo's in it.
maybe because he's still playing. Is
Yeah,
that because he
yeah,
never
that'll
wants to
be
retire?
why.
Well, surely he gets this straight away. But like, I
It's
look at
really interesting
Ronaldo.
as well.
No, he's so much better
Sorry,
than
yeah,
him.
you carry on. Sorry.
No, that's just that time.
I mean, I'm looking at it. So, 2021 it started, right? And it's got a list of the players. Do you know what? I will screen share this. Screen share this so that everyone can see this. It is this one. You see that one?
Yeah.
So, this is the first list of players that were, up for being inducted. The bold ones are the players that were inducted. So, like Les Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler again. Here's Didier Drogba. But so Van Persie was up for being inducted in the first year. He's never been inducted, and suddenly we're in 2025 and he's not up for being inducted.
It's
Like,
like
I find that
with
really strange.
Matt Letizia as well. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Vidic is still in there. He's hoping to get hoping to win it one day. He's just in the nominations every. At that point, if you're gonna put someone in the nomination every year, you might as well just bloody give it to them. Like,
I don't understand how did they come up with this list as the first year? And
I
you've
wonder
got
who comes up with it. That's the thing I'd be so interested to see. Like, yeah, I mean,
I
some
know
of
they've
these
got
are
like
crazy.
certain rules. So it's if you've got to have a certain amount of appearances. I think it's like more than 250 or something like that, or be a Premier League winner, get the Golden Boot, Player of the Year, maybe like the assist record and the clean sheet. For the keepers.
I just thought so. Do you think Jamie Vardy should get? I think Jamie Vardy should be in it if Jogba's in it.
He's still playing, isn't
I
he?
know, but like, if when he retires, do you think that? Because I don't think they'll put him in it, but I think just for being their best player in what is probably one of the most iconic seasons ever. But he was consistently good in the Prem for like 5 seasons. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I look at some of these people on here, and I'm like it is funny. Yeah, Van Persie was in the nominations, never got it, and then I'm actually quite happy that in 2022 Aguero and company got it. I mean, I'm not like as bullish on company. I don't particularly care, but like Aguero deserved to be in it, and I didn't want people to be like, "Oh, we're putting in these."
I'm sorry,
90s
but for me, I feel Tony Adams should have been in instead of company, and I know that's probably my Arsenal bias coming out, but I just don't understand how you can look like even Alan Shearer said, Tony Adams was the best pure defender I ever played against. Like internationally, anything, he was the best defender. Okay, and I think sometimes people forget how good he was. They kind of go, "Oh well, he's not glamorous. He wasn't like a passer of the ball." But in terms of you're going right, I need someone to stop a striker. No one better. He was unbelievable. The only captain as well to win the league in 3 different decades, which is just a mad kind of stat. Like that shows his longevity, especially after his alcoholism and all his other problems. Come back and do what he did. He was an absolute linchpin. Arsenal. He's
The thing
unbelievable.
is, it looks like it's a fan vote by reading it, and the thing is, it's just like like if you have bad reputation in the media, then that's not going to help. Like Tony Adams, I'd
Yeah.
say, isn't particularly liked by
I know
many
he was
people.
inducted, obviously, the next year, but I do feel like, oh, really?
Like everyone loves Company, like especially in 2023 or 2022 when that happened before he was at Burnley. But people loved
Mm.
Company because he's very like how he speaks. I think people respect it. I respect Company more than I do Tony Adams, but it's just on a personal level. But because I just think some people talk too much. That's all I'll say. But but
Uh,
but yeah, like
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Right, who are we inducting then? Let's go for it. I am looking here and you know what? I think Cesc might have to go in this year.
the fan vote starts in 3 days. We're gonna.
I
I
think
think
Vidic should go in.
Yeah, I was
I'll be
gonna say
honest, like, yeah.
he's been nominated for like nearly every year, and he's not in it. Just put him in it.
He was a
Just put him on it.
captain that's won it. He has won Player of the Year. I think Vidic should go in.
I think Vidic had
And
a
then my
higher
other
peak
player-
than Rio, but I think Rio was better for a longer time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
bear in mind, I watched both of them play for about 3 seasons, and Vidic was better than in all the years. So
I just preferred Vidic, just the way he played. He's just so aggressive.
Yeah.
And I always thought,
And
I
he
always
doesn't
think
talk
of
too
like
much as
who,
well.
yeah, like who would I want to play against more, and who would I want to play against the least? And Vidic is one of those players like I'd hate to play against him. Yeah, I put Vidic in, and looking at the others, who would I put in?
For me, it's probably Fabregas. I think Gary Neville or Yaya Toure are like my. I feel bad, but I feel like David Silva is probably a better player than Yaya Toure. I just like Yaya Toure more. So like I don't hate David Silva. I love David Silva. I loved him as a kid, but it's just that like we had Cazorla. There was other things going on. Like Spain were just annoying at the time. Like they just did well. Like, I remember they won everything. Yeah, bear in mind my first international tournament I watched was the 2008 Euros. We weren't in it. Look who won, Spain. Then I watched the 2010 World Cup. Look who won it, Spain. Then I watched the 2012 Euros. Look who won it, Spain. Do you see how fun that was for me? On my first 3 international tournaments, they were just won by bloody Spain. I was just like,
That's mad.
By 2014, I was like, oh my god, please just don't let Spain win. And it's so funny because like they never won anything before that. But it's just like that's my first tournament. I was like, oh my god. So I think I was just fed up.
Enough, for me, it would be the real memories I've got are like, wow, 96 Euros. I really, really remember that. And then suddenly there was 98 and France. And then France just went on and dominated. They kind of did the same kind of thing for me. By the way, Alejandro, great to have you in, mate. The chat is not working again. We've got to try to sort this out before next week. And Daily Depot has put in Beckham changed the Premier League in terms of image and marketing. And I guess that's probably why he's gone in.
That is true. That is very true.
Like he's, when you think, I guess, if you're outside looking in at Premier League, to say you live in a different country, name a player in the Premier League. I bet he's one of the names that come up.
Yeah.
Guarantee
I think that's why I'd put, if that is like, I think that is why I'm pretty sure actually that I looked at the criteria when they released it before, and it is to do with loads of stuff. Like there is stuff in there about social factors. I mean, if social factors are a point, like Yaya Toure should definitely be in there. Like I know the things that he has done for, I mean, the continent of Africa are like massive. I mean, that's probably.
I thought you were going to just talk about birthday cakes and stuff.
That's probably a big reason why Drogba's in it. To be fair, like Drogba is like one of the big leading represent. Like people talk about Drogba, like he is like very iconic in that sense, especially outside of this country. So I don't mind that. I do think the thing is though, like I feel like eventually most of these players are going to be on it because they're just going to get nominated every year. Some of them, like Defoe, probably won't. But Vidic, you didn't get in this year. Put you in the nominees again.
Yeah, next year.
As soon as all the others are in, you'll get in. It's like so funny to me.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? I would agree. I reckon for me personally, Vidic and Fabregas, but I reckon it will be Vidic and Hazard.
I was gonna say it's gonna be Hazard, isn't it? It's just gonna be Hazard. I know people too well. Like I just know what people are like, especially on voting on social media. Like everyone loves Hazard.
Yeah. There you have it. We've called everyone out, but there we go. Let's go on to the next thing while we're on Chelsea and Eden Hazard, because it has come out through the FA that the FA has today charged Chelsea FC with breaches of regulations J1 and C2. We're all familiar with those. Regulations A2 and A3, again, we love those ones, and A1 and B3 of the FA third-party investment in players regulation. In total, 74 charges brought against Chelsea FC between 2009 and 2022. It says the events occurred between 2010 and 11 season, and then 2015 and 16 seasons. It says Chelsea have got until September the 19th, which will be next week. So we find out if they've responded. But I believe they're the ones who kind of brought this to light. They went to the FA and kind of like dobbed themselves in essentially and said, oh, the previous ownership have done this, blah, blah, blah. I put a tweet out and said, well, it doesn't really matter because Chelsea don't exist anymore and we've got Blueco instead. So they'll just continue in their operations as usual. Right. Tell me what's going to happen here, Wockles. You won't even know who Mystic Meg is. That's how young you are. Oh, God help me. You are Mystic Mac. You know who Conor McGregor is. Please tell me you know.
Yes, I know Conor McGregor is.
Thank God. Okay. So you are old or young, depending how you look at it. Young Conor, able to see into the future. What is the sanction going to be for Chelsea?
First of all, I will say that we add the stream both see just a white screen, so I'd probably just take that down because I can't see the thing. But
it's up there again now. I can see it.
Oh, I think that. I didn't really know what was going on with the situation. I haven't really looked into it too much. Like, it seems like, relatively the same, but not as serious at the same time as the Man City ones. I think the fact they dobbed themselves in or whatever with their old partner will actually probably benefit them. I do think so.
Yeah.
And maybe it should. But I don't know. Like, it's all based on like account. This is based on like third party paying agents and like not reporting it right and stuff like that, which is always murky waters. Like, there's so many different financial components that go into these sort of things. I did think it was funny that one of them was about Willian. That made me laugh. And I just like, they're just gonna get, because they expect to get fined, don't they? They expect to get fined like 10 mil or something. That's what they expect, and that's what they kind of came to them about. But the thing is, it's like, I saw that like Magic Hat on Twitter did say that they could be thrown the book at by the FA, and I've seen Swiss Ramble also say that there's a chance that that could happen. It really just depends of like the FA and how much much balls they're gonna have, and I don't think they have any at the moment. I genuinely think they are.
I completely agree.
And I think I think the problem is that I speak about this to other people. I was like, the thing is, the FA and the Premier League, they like govern the league, but realistically, the league is built by the teams. People don't watch the Premier League without the teams in it. You might watch the package of the league, but it's not, if Arsenal aren't in it, like, people aren't going to watch it. So yep. I find it in these situations that despite the FA and all these people trying to govern these clubs, they have not enough power. They're not as rich as the clubs, and then they kind of just struggle. It's a complete struggle because they want to enforce laws, which they should, but then they also have like no authority to enforce them either, and they don't get listened to, and then they get bullied out of it in the courtroom.
Yep.
And this is the situation with like the City thing, and it takes so long for them to do anything. And then it just feels like, personally, this is my opinion, that the Court of Arbitrary of Sport are the most like, I don't know, they're the most like fence-sitting people ever. And I get it. They don't want to make strict things because it sets precedents where they have to abide that for the future. But it seems like any time the Court of Arbitrary Sport have to like look into something into sport about football, tennis, whatever, it seems like they just take the most neutral approach and go, settle it out of court or whatever. It never seems like there's any big thing. It's the same with what happened in tennis for years, and like Wimbledon had to come in and make their own decisions, and then it was this whole thing, and the problem with that is it's just like everyone's scared to govern it because they feel like they can't win, and it just comes in problems. And it's like the same with the FA. clearly don't like, or at least the people that run the Premier League don't like City. They don't like Chelsea. I mean, there's a reason why the guy that run the Prem like 2 years ago was at the Emirates for the last game of the season and not Man City, and he didn't want to go there and give him the trophy. Like, these things are quite clear. I just think, I mean, it's so detailed in business, and it's way over my head because I'm not like too informed about it. But I just think that, like, yeah, they'll probably get fined, maybe a point deduction to an extent. But then I'm sure that Chelsea would be annoyed. But the problem is, if you do things like this, if you give them a point deduction or even fine them to an extent, it makes all the other clubs be like, well, they've got that position 6 years ago because they cheated. Now we
Yep.
want compensation. And then it just creates this whole big mess, which I think that's the issue the Prem are having. Like, when you leave things to rot there for 10 years, and even now, we've been 2 years or whatever since the Man City thing started, more problems are going to stack up and more teams are going to feel the real repercussions of that. So it's just annoying. I do think there's a certain level of like Chelsea and City have got away with too much. And I do think teams like Arsenal and Liverpool, we're not brilliant in terms of like good faith in terms of society. Like, trust me, like we've done some stupid things as a club, especially over the last couple of years. But in terms of like financially and like keeping it and playing by the rules that are set, which are stupid, the rules do change all the time and they don't particularly make a lot of sense, I feel like, in terms of PSR and FFP. Like, why are they not just like similar? Why are they completely different?
Yeah.
And like, I think in that sense, like Arsenal, like, and Liverpool do things right and they still get criticised, but Man City and Chelsea just feel like they can do anything, especially City. So the thing is, this situation, because Chelsea ultimately it is a new ownership, it isn't the same ownership. They did go up to them and say that, and I do think that deserves somewhat of a lenient approach a little bit because
Yeah, I think
they
so.
could have just said nothing, and I don't think they would have ever been found out. To be honest, I don't think the only reason why the Man City thing got found out was because a whistleblower who did insane amount of research about 4 years and finally got the licenses to like give it to journalists. Eventually brought it out. The FA didn't do any of that research. They didn't look into it. They said do it. They didn't do any of that. So like it's like yet again like everyone else has to do the work for these companies to realize something's up. So yeah, I don't know. Like with Chelsea, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It depends. I don't think it should be as harsh anywhere near as Man City's, and I don't think the Premier League will throw the book at them either. I think the Premier League are going to just be like, we'll give you a fine or whatever. We'll give you a really small punishment because we can't be asked to deal with the problem.
Yeah, I completely agree because, and it's so frustrating because I've had to watch Arsenal do everything the hard way. Like so many years, like losing all of our players across the city and having to build the stadium and being unable to invest because we have to play by the same rules and our ownership can't put their money in. And, there's been so many things. And I just feel that the FA at times just buried their heads in the sand because it was a well-known fact that Chelsea were doing this. Like people have been talking about it for years. Whether that was through scouts, whether that was through kind of all the youth academy and stuff. I remember people talking about it at that point, and it was just so obvious. You just go, well, hang on a minute. How are Chelsea able to do this and just get all these players? And it's not just the final outcome of the trophies. It's also like the infrastructure that's been built off it. Because if you're getting in these players, then that raises the profile of your club as well. So, like, where would they be if they hadn't done this? And unfortunately, it just opens up a can of worms. Like, I don't think the FA will ever have the cojones, as someone might say, and I don't think they'll strip them of titles and things. I don't see that helping matters. I mean, I could understand them doing a similar thing to the Lance Armstrong thing, where the Tour de France basically just struck off the title and didn't award them to anyone else, which is like a really strange thing. Ironically, just so everyone knows, with that, the other people that have been caught in the Tour de France, they never got theirs struck off, which I find really crazy. That he was vilified like that, and everyone else, no, carry on, whatever.
It's all about publicity in it, and just media
and that's what I think. I think with Chelsea, it will be a case of like a small slap on the wrist, and for a company that have spent, billions, literal billions, to then go, oh, we're going to give you a financial sanction. Like, it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't mean anything. What I would prefer is if, for me personally, I think you have to look at it and go, right, we have to punish them for the past. So maybe that is doing something like saying that their titles don't exist. I just don't know. I don't think you can award them to anyone else.
I think the problem is that
But
it's
in
just
terms
like nothing for everyone. Like no one
Yeah.
wins. I just don't think
And that's
like
the future though. Blueco cannot do what they are doing. You cannot sign players. Like the FA should be going, well, hang on, what we're going to do then, we're going to put this slap in your wrist. But also, by the way, there's this new rule where your company can't buy any players. Your club have to buy players. And also, you can't just suddenly sell players across to your sister club and stuff. The FA need to like start clamping down on that because it's obvious what they're doing. So while they're going, oh, look how good we are as a company, and look how good our ownership are. We're saying we're not going to be like the old ownership. They're just as bad. What they're doing, selling their women's team basically to themselves and their infrastructure. Like the FA need to do something about that. But there we go. That's
Yeah, I agree. Like I think the problem is some of it is already too late. Like in terms of like the whole PSR thing in FFP, if you're going to introduce PSR, I'm not saying you have to be really strict in everything in certain levels. Oh, like the thing is, I just think they're strict in the wrong ways. They have 108 mil, whatever you've got to make profit. If you go 2 mil over that, you get 8-point deduction. But then if you want to sell every asset that you have at your club to make that thing, that's fine. And like the problem is already Chelsea have this merry-go-round of buying 100, 200, 300 mil players per summer and selling. They sold 300 mil this summer. It's like a record. And they've already got this merry-go-round. And it's funny because they sold 300 mil this summer. And if you actually go through their players, about half of them are like profit. Some of them are an incredible profit. And about half of them are losses. But it doesn't matter because they were able to sell all their assets to get all the players in for PSR to then make these things. And on the whole, like, multi-club thing, the whole multi-club thing structure has to change. It has to change by UEFA and FIFA, and everyone needs to be at this because I don't think it is as bad as some people think. Like, I think in terms of like you buy assets is fine or whatever, but you should not be able to continually just have a merry-go-round of players go to this club and then go to others. I think it should be a limit of like 1 or 2 sales can happen per season because it's the same with UEFA. UEFA had that thing where 2 clubs who are owned by the majority can't play in Europe together, and then they kind of bund that off for certain teams because they're like, you know, actually they don't own it. It's this company, and then this is this other company. Like, and it's stupid, and that's a stupid like way of getting around it. They, you know, you can even have that or just go, you can't transfer players from one club to the other. You can only do one a summer. Then watch them do it. Then they won't. Then Chelsea won't be going to sign 500 players for Strasbourg because they'll be like,
that's a really simple way of doing it.
Yeah, it's the simplest way of doing it. And Chelsea are quite a small level at doing it because they basically only transfer from Strasbourg to Chelsea. But there's been years for doing it. I remember Udinese and Watford. Whatever one was doing the best, they just give all their players to the other one. I remember when Watford got to the Prem, Udinese sold 4 players to them, and then they got relegated, and 5 Watford players went to Udinese. Like, and Man City are a great example. Man City have their arms in every continent, and the problem is they have 2 or 3 teams. They have like 4 teams in South America, which I didn't even realize. Like 1 in Uruguay, 1 in Brazil. Like, you just can't let these people have it because they just get all this talent for free without actually working. And all it is they're moving assets over from one company to another to avoid different problems against them, which is stupid. Like in normal business, you can't just do that. Like when you have problems and like, oh yeah, we've got this asset we can't sell. We'll just sell them to ourselves. Well, that's not how it works. Like, so it has to change, and it has to be done by a simple thing, like something like that to like make a difference because it's a real problem. And like Chelsea are just taking the piss at this point with their consistent buy-in, and it's just too late. Like it's just too late. Like to stop them. Yeah, it's just.
Mate, I love how critical you are, but is Ian Wright ever critical of Arsenal? Look at that for a segue. I know you haven't really watched it, so this is going to be interesting because I can feel you're already getting heated. Right, here we go. So The overlap, we've got Gary Neville and Roy Keane basically hounding Ian Wright. So Neville, first of all, says, well, Madueke's obviously a lot better on the right. We've seen him on the left. And, you know, when he came in for Saka, he looked so much better. So could Saka play on the left? And he says, if you think about it, obviously Martinelli's just struggling a little bit on that left-hand side. Could Saka go back on the left? Completely neglecting the point that we've already got a midfield with Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and Odegaard, and Eze's just not going to play.
Just spent a 60 mil on a player, and he's like, I don't even consider him.
It's mad, isn't it? So, just on that, Saka play on the left?
Insert, like, off the bench and in certain games if you have to. If Eze's injured, then sure, but, like, I wouldn't start with it. I'm a lot more open with Saka playing on the left for Arsenal than I am for England. For England's an absolute disgrace. Like, he should only be on the right wing, and if he's not fit, don't play him. Play someone else. We've got Madueke, we've got Bowen, we've got options. You don't need to be shoving him in some other position to hold that for whatever else. That's not what he deserves. But for Arsenal, like, I like our wingers rotating. If you play Madueke and Saka on the wings, they both can rotate with each other. You don't have to have Saka on the left the entire time. They can rotate, and I think that works a lot better than anyone else there, because I don't think Eze could play on the right wing. Martinelli's not that good there. Trossard can't. So I don't mind it in that sense if you have to, if you've got injuries. But that's not us. Like, if we're starting, Eze's on the left, and then Saka's on the right, and then Madueke's behind him. But yeah, like, it's funny, isn't it? Mate. You know, everyone talks about Saka, and they criticise the Madueke side, and now everyone's talking about replacing Saka. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah, I saw, what are the guys in TalkSport called? I've completely forgotten his name. Ex-Spurs player, Jamie O'Hara, has done exactly this. You know, the guy that said he's the host of Europe's biggest talk show, like sports radio station or something, and said he was this mega star. Have you ever seen that when he went on this dating thing, like The Bachelor or something in America? If you haven't, mate,
no, I haven't.
and if anyone hasn't at home, just type in, and I want to say it's called The Bachelor, Jamie O'Hara, and it's the most cringe-worthy thing I have ever seen. He kind of catfishes this poor woman and says to her that essentially, like, he's Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, that he makes out like he's this massive star. And it's just hilarious, because I bet there are so many football fans who have no idea who he is. Regardless, yeah, he was one of these people that have said, oh, you know, Madueke shouldn't be going to Arsenal. Now he's going, oh, yeah, push one of the top right wingers in world football out on the opposite flank to put him in. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I digress. They also pulled up Wrighty, and they said, so Neville said, how frustrating were Arsenal in that game, by the way, against Liverpool? So Wrighty's then saying, we hung in there. We brought in the subs about 10 minutes too late. And then there was this amazing goal. You know, we were very close to getting a point at Anfield, and this is a big thing. And then Keane goes on about, you know, Bournemouth scoring against them and Newcastle with 10 men and stuff, which is, I mean, I can understand that side of things, but at the same time, we'd lost Saliba. We had multiple players out. And then he shouts at him. He's like, be critical of Arsenal. Are you on their wage bill? Which he kind of is, because he's in all the, you know, all the merch, right? He's there. Eze signing, he's there. And then he says, we criticize Man United. Just like, oh yeah, look where United are right now and where they were last season. Have they got any leg to stand on to be like, Arsenal were frustrating?
If normal people said it, then yeah, but not them guys. Like, they just talk too much, man. Like, the problem is I have with this whole situation is I just think Roy Keane on television is just genuinely bad for this society. I just do. I just don't think he's a good person to talk about football personally. I think that, like, he's on there though because people think he's funny, cool, whatever. Like, you know, give it 15 years down the time and we'll see, you know, what my generation who are a bit older, what they'll want to watch. And I don't think it's going to be him. Like, I just think fundamentally, like, his argument is like, oh, Bournemouth scored twice, Arsenal scored 0, Bournemouth better. What do you mean? When they scored one free kick from 35 yards, Liverpool scored 4 against Bournemouth. Where's the logic here? Like, I just hate this whole like goal scoring is better. You know, you score more goals, you're a better
Yeah.
team. Like, it's just so bad, man. We're in 2025 and this is what we're getting. I think it's fair. We were frustrating, but Liverpool were frustrating as well. I just hate this whole
I
thing.
know. I wish more people would say that,
They're at
mate.
home. They're the champions at Anfield at home, and they did nothing. And it's got a 35-yard free kick. Whatever. We had injuries as well, but like even then, we didn't even do that bad. And it's funny how the arguments change every 3 days when the goalposts move. Oh, we played 3 DMs, and they realise Marino's not a DM, and now it's not a DM now. It's like he was never a DM. Like it's just it.
Yeah. Has he ever played as DM for Arsenal? Like,
He's not played as a DM for about 5 years, bear in mind. And the only reason why he played there was because at Newcastle, they just thought, oh, he's tall, so we're playing DM, which is like the lot analysts that I get from the overlap at this point, from them at least. Not saying anything about the other shows on there because they are quite good. But I just think like, I just get so frustrated sometimes because we were frustrating, and I think if he came across and said, "Oh, like that game was frustrating, both teams didn't do anything," I would have liked to see Arsenal go for it more. Like then I could be like, "Yeah, you know what? That's fair enough." I don't necessarily agree, but you've at least said it in like a fair enough way. Like even what Gary said, I didn't particularly care. I was like, "That's okay. Like I don't mind it. Whatever. Like he can have his
yeah.
opinion about that." But just Roy Keane being like, "Oh yeah, they scored twice, so you did score," and then being like Ian Wright doesn't criticise Arsenal ever, and that's something I've mentioned, and that is fair to hold him up on that. But
Yeah.
then to
Yeah.
use your argument to be like, "Oh, we criticise United," is a stupid argument because they are awful. So it's like if you just went like, "Oh, just say something negative about Arsenal," like what didn't you like about it? But instead of like I don't know, the argument is stupid. If Ian Wright doesn't believe that was a problem in the game, that's not the best way to go about it. You know, I say to people, if you want me to be critical of Arsenal, ask me the right questions. Go, what are you annoyed about in this game? And I'll tell you what I was annoyed about. What would you have liked to change? What would you like to see different? Then I'll tell you. Not, oh yeah, they were frustrating to play. Oh yeah, well, the game was awful. The game went great. I wasn't overly frustrated about how we played specifically comparing to Liverpool. If we played like that and Liverpool played like way better attacking, I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah. But we didn't. And it's like, it's that sort of thing that people don't realize. And you would think like, I don't know, people that are double my age would sort of figure that out, but apparently not. I don't know.
Mate, it's so frustrating, like on a number of reasons, because these are ex-players, and quite often I want to know their point of view in terms of like how the players will be addressing this game and the situation. Like if they were talking more of like, well, when you go there, you know, this is how it feels when you've got the Anfield crowd on you, and this is what it's like, and how the manager's probably talking to you at halftime, and what his instructions probably would be. You know, if you were talking about that side of things, fine. If you're talking about it tactically, but lest we forget, I've mentioned previously on here about Gary Neville's horrendous record as a manager. And I've never said it, but Roy Keane as well is one of the worst managers I have seen. He was a horrendous manager. So these are guys who have no idea of really what it takes to lead a team from a managerial point of view. Fantastic players, but don't start saying like, oh, well, they should be doing this and this and this, because it's like, well, you were never able to tactically outthink anyone. Mikel Arteta, so this is kind of going into my next point. Mikel Arteta has got one of the best records of top six managers against other top six managers. It is unbelievable. So we probably should trust in him when we're going against another big six side. On top of that, you are going to a place that historically you have done pretty poorly at. Like you're not well known in terms of getting wins there, victories there, taking 3 points home from there. So why is the onus on Arsenal to go out and attack away from home, not the champions who have gone and spent insane amounts of money? They've got the record transfer at the time in Florian Wirtz as their creative hub. Why is the onus not on him to go and create in that game? Why are they? My final point, because I'm getting really annoyed about this, is because if Arsenal went and scored a free kick like they did, I guarantee Liverpool wouldn't be lambasted in their approach to the game like Arsenal have been. They just wouldn't. And whether you say, well, they've got credit in the bank because Slot's won the league or whatever, I don't care. If you have gone at home and you are known for attacking football, and then you've put out a performance like that and then conceded a free kick, no, that's your own fault. We are not known for our attacking football. We are away from home against the champions. And with multiple injuries as well. It just frustrates me sometimes how it's always like that show. Sometimes it's like the anti-Arsenal agenda.
I mean, it's
It
just
just
funny,
drives
isn't
me
it?
nuts.
Because the whole point of the show is them to be like in a pub setting and have like normal conversations. But if you're in a pub with people are much more calmer about football. And they'll probably just be like, if I spoke to Arsenal fans like I do in the pub, they're like, yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. Like, yeah, we didn't play great, but nor did Liverpool. We lost to a free kick. But then they act like they know what's going on in these scenarios. And they're like, and that's just not what would happen. Like, I think there's genuinely the biggest disconnect from their football when they played to now, maybe ever, like in that 20 years. It's just so different. Everything's so different nowadays. Like the style of players are different. Yeah, it might come back around and you want a big striker now in certain aspects, but there's just so much difference, man. Like I've watched games before and it's just it's just so frustrating sometimes to be like, I see Arsenal lose 1-0 and I'm annoyed with us. I'm like, oh, I would have liked to see us do better. And then I get these people and they just like elevate it and they amplify it. And it's like, you're not even an Arsenal fan. You're just saying whatever you like, just stupidness because you're like, oh, yeah, it will get clicks.
I
Like,
do wonder how much of a rise they're trying to get out of Wrighty as well. They know. They know. But I mean, the Daily Depot's put here, mate, great comment. Gyökeres got crucified for Anfield. Meanwhile, Salah, Ekitike, Gakpo, and Wirtz were anonymous.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Look at Mosquera and Ekitike. Like, Mosquera, why the media just completely gloss over that? Not a mention of Mosquera. What a fantastic debut. And the circumstances he had to come in, nothing. I've heard it, other Arsenal content creators and stuff. No one said about him and said, oh, what amazing player. Like, that is a fantastic buy. For the amount of money that they've got him, that is like a true succession plan there. Well done to Arteta. Well done to Berta. It's not the result they were. Nothing. Dead silence, radio silence.
It's so funny, isn't it? Like, the thing is this is my biggest issue of like mainstream media is that like every single person on Twitter, we live in a rage bait era. Everyone's going to do these stupid posts. Like you see Hate Essential, know nothing about football and post stuff on Twitter, gets 100k likes, whatever. Like I expect that because these guys are like, people that do this for a living, whatever. They're just random people. But mainstream media knew that they're not getting any sort of like love or no one cares about it. So that everything they do has to be some sort of rage bait. The only reason why Roy Keane has a career is because we moved into a rage bait era, which works perfectly because he knows nothing about anything he's talking about and does it. The whole era, if you look at the biggest Twitch streams, you look at the biggest people on YouTube, they're people that just talk, but know nothing about how they know, but maybe above average of the things they're talking about, but they don't know the whole picture and will just say something. Like there's people on my TikTok I look at and there's this guy, he talks about every single little thing that happens in the world, every single thing. He watches a TV show, oh, there's a problem here. Watches a movie, there's a problem here. I didn't like this movie as much as other people. And I'm like, bro, I get you get paid for this and you get views and people are angry in the comments or like it or whatever, but oh my God, how can you live your life being hypercritical, or not even hypercritical, but just being so angry at everything? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I watch football because I enjoy football. I don't watch football to be miserable and sit in my room and, oh, I'm not going to bother anymore. Oh, we lost 1-0. We lost 1-0. I was pissed off. We didn't really have much redeeming factors, but I still look for positives. Like, I just think people watch football because they have to. They feel like it's an obligation, a part of the United Kingdom, that you have to be part of a football club.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Just do anything else that you want. Like, I just don't get it.
No, you say right.
It's just no one wants to have fun. And the problem is the mainstream media seep the fun out of everything. And it's not just like Gary and the thing is like Jamie Carragher has said some dumbass things yet again. Like he has said some stupid things on the thing on mainstream media and on TV. But I know that he actually knows about the game. Like I've seen his things he said. I think some of his writing reports are crap, and I don't understand how he gets any sort of thing on the writing. I can't remember.
Do you think he writes them? I don't know if he writes them, or if he's got like a ghostwriter for those.
Well, he might say it and then get someone to write it for him. Maybe
Yeah.
something like that happens.
Yeah.
But he did one the other day about something. I can't remember, and everyone was criticizing. I thought, why does he care about that? And I just think sometimes these players, like, I do think there's a certain level of aspects of, yes, you were a football player, but it's a different avenue of navigating media and the common folk, you know, socially. Like, these people ultimately didn't live the same lives of other people sometimes, and it might be hard for them to understand what people genuinely care about. The reason why my content on Arsenal does really well is because I know what Arsenal fans want to watch, because I want to watch it, because I'm invested in it. If I make content about other teams, and I have made content about other teams on my other channels, it's a little bit harder for me to find the same care or sympathetic or know what people care. Like, for instance, like the Liverpool fan bases have been talking about their midfield the entire summer. Like, do we play a McAllister midfield with Gravenberch, or do we put Szoboszlai in there? Or what, we need to have Szoboszlai in the team somehow. But obviously, without not being a Liverpool fan, I look at their team and know their team, but I don't know if that's a big thing they're talking about. I'm sure people outside of Arsenal don't know that we're talking about, is Mascara going to start the weekend, or what all this stuff's going on. And I'm just like, if you're not like that is ultimately what analysis and data driven and all these people care about now. They want to be specific in a system, and at least feel like you have respect for that. You know, if I don't support a team, I have respect for them. I've made Tottenham videos on my second channel, and I've had utmost respect for the player they have signed and the systems that they do. And I don't support Tottenham. I don't like Tottenham. I don't want Tottenham to succeed, but I'm professional and can do that. But these people aren't professional. That's not where mainstream media is. It is in a rage bait era where we'll just say whatever we want to annoy. And I expect it from awful outlets like TalkSport, which have been awful. I remember in uni, they were like, don't talk to TalkSport. Don't even watch it. It's awful. Yeah, it's awful. Don't. And I look at stuff like, I mean, the thing is, it's so hard to like talk about, because The Overlap overall is a good show. There is great stuff on that show. You know, the people that do the tactics work around that show are amazing, genuinely like some of the best in the industry. And I don't hate their chats. Like, I like Gary Neville's, like, I do like their chats sometimes. I think they have good conversations about things that are worthy of talking about. But it's just this sort of rage bait clipping error. Like, oh, we'll say this because we know it will get short and then that will get viral. And it's just like, you don't need to do that. You're a mainstream outlet. I know it's a YouTube channel, but you're still an outlet on a mainstream with mainstream pundits on there.
They'll get massive numbers regardless. They really will. By the way, I love how impassioned you got there, because you're so critical about someone being critical. I was like, this is prime Wackles.
I'm more critical on media than anything. Like, as someone who grew up wanting to be a sports journalist and seeing what the world is now, and especially what journalism is in this country, it is dire. It is awful. I hated my degree so much, and I just...
Mate, I remember, like, AFTV used to get so much hate, and I don't think they deserve it as much now. I really don't think it. So they have changed their direction. There's still, you know, elements and themes that they still kind of hang around with. But it's so ironic that mainstream media used to go, oh, all you do is trying to like breed negativity and you're trying to click, and then you go, well, hang on, you're all following suit now.
Yeah.
Because you've all gone, oh, that's a recipe for success there.
Yeah.
They've all done it. And people like James B, Graham, they are fantastic analysts of football. They really know their stuff. Some of the content with them going like to the pre-season tours and talking to the players, the fact that they've actually gone into the media box and spoken and asked Arteta questions, and quite frankly, some good questions, because a lot of the time, mainstream media give you the most dire questions. If anyone's looked at the kind of preview for Forest and the questioning to Arteta, I just say, like, I can guess what half the question's going to be.
I tell you, fact, they're not taught to be fun. They're not. Like, everything, every single person that I was with my journalism degree, which I did 2 years ago, which is completely relevant, it's like, it's just the same sort of like demographic of people run journalism, and you can imagine what they are. And yes, they have their opinions, which they're allowed, but it just feels so hard to break into that if you don't believe it. And it's the same if I say, like, making football content about Arsenal on YouTube. Like, when I was starting off, do you know how hard it was to like make my content, because copyright strikes by the Premier League? They don't want anyone doing any of their content, even me trying to analyze it and be educational, because that's what it is, nothing. You know, these mainstream medias have all the rights and they can do what they want, and push the narrative. And as soon as other people try and have a voice and try and say stuff, they have a problem with it. And they're so far behind on everything. This is why they're making these TikToks. Like, you're so right what you said about Arsenal Fan TV. They used to get villainified, and now everyone copies them, and everyone wants to be like that.
Yep.
And even if Arsenal Fan TV, like, I think Arsenal Fan TV's reputation in terms of like England is like in the floor, basically. And I feel bad for good people that go on that show, because there is many, many, many different people on that show now. And I do feel like there's still people remember the old era of all the old people, and they feel the
Like,
repercussions.
Jack Devonport, who's been on here, fantastic. Like, really knows his stuff and really understands like what, you know, that younger demographic compared to me, really want and understand. Like, and he's so knowledgeable. Like, he really does read up constantly about all of Arsenal's history and just general football history. Like, he's one of these people who, like, you know, if you like ask him a question, you go, "Oh, do you know, like in '99, do you know what the sponsor was of Fiorentina?" He bloody well tell you. He'd be like, "Oh, it's 7-Up," or whatever it may be. Like, it's, and people like him, I do feel really bad for, because, you know, where you're kind of lambasted just by association, not by your own personal views. But nevertheless, like, I hope at some point there's a little bit of a change, because I think when Carragher and Neville first came through, I don't think it was ever really like that. Quite a lot of the time they were going into full depth, and I think it's been watered down, and it's become, much more diluted now.
It's just like, it's just so frustrating sometimes. Like, I expect stuff to be stupid on Twitter. Twitter's an horrible app. Like, the amount of stuff I see on that app just daily is crazy. And like,
mate, Twitter at the moment, videos of, like, I mean, I won't get into
it's crazy,
it, but videos
but like,
of someone being shot.
Yeah, and it's just advertised
all over the place. But if you want a video of the Premier League, like a 30-second, no. But what is getting, like?
I mean, that is down to the Prem. I feel like the Prem as well is so far behind. Like, I was watching Mark Goldbridge's stream today when he watched the Bundesliga, and people are asking him, like, "Oh, do you think the Prem will ever do that?" And he's like, "Probably not. They got their heads in the sand." I don't think the Prem should do that necessarily, but there's certain ways that they have to help people.
I think they should. I think they should get us to run it, mate. Let's take over.
Well, the thing is, though, like, football in the Premier League, especially in this country, not only has the best fan base in the world. Like, I think people take it for granted, but HITC7 did a brilliant video on this yesterday where, you know, England's national team get 80,000 people to watch Malta at home. You're not getting that anywhere else in the world. And like, we're getting 20,000 people turn up to 5th tier games, 6th tier games. Like, that just doesn't happen anywhere else. Like, there's support, and it is a culture thing. Like, everyone in this country, to an extent, I know places that are more maybe rugby orientated and other sports. I mean, and cricket is a big one as well. But a lot of people growing up, football is everywhere. You can't even, you just get sucked into it. And I just feel like the football, like, ultimately, the people that care about the most about it are normal people, you know, people that have everyday work and jobs. And the people that talk about it all the time are never then people allowed to. And I do think there's a certain level of society and people not wanting it to. Like, a great example is Umir is now on BBC Sport. He went on Match of the Day 2. He's now the tactics guy, the correspondent. Obviously, Umir's been around for a while doing tactics on Twitter, on social media, doing his stuff, and he's worked his way up. I applaud him a lot. And obviously, there's going to be people that are like, "Who's this guy? He never played football. I don't want to listen to him." But like, when you listen to these people for like longer than like 5 minutes, you realize actually they're so intelligent, and like, you should be listening to them. And I think hopefully we are slowly transitioning to that eventually. I mean, even my content, like, most of my audience is older than me, and I always find it, like, I always see when people are critical of me, it's the fact I'm young, and they're like, "Oh, he is a bit young, you know, he can be a bit rough around the edges," and I understand that, but like, you shouldn't just, like, it shouldn't be, your opinion should not be set on basically how old someone is, because, you know, I still support this club no matter what, depending on my age, and I still do my research and do the work I have to make the videos. Like, and it's the same with, like you were saying with Jack, and it's the same with many people on Arsenal Fan TV. They've got many new people on there who are working really hard. And, you know, I didn't have to go to uni, but I still went to uni to learn my trade even more in journalism. And I hated it in the end, but it taught me a lot. And I just feel like, I do feel like sometimes, maybe not like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, because they are like the tippity top, but I think, like, when I talk about other footballers just getting careers and stuff because they're a footballer, really does sometimes frustrate me when they don't do their research, they don't try. And I just feel like, you know, give it to someone that is passionate and dedicated. Like, there is so many people my age are dedicated about football. Just let them speak.
Well, I mean, I just didn't like the age thing. Like, it genuinely is like taken so out of context. I just then completely his name like just escaped me. But Carlos Cuesta, perfect example of someone like really, really young who is operating at the absolute elite, like the top, not even the top 1%, the top like 0.1% of football. And if he wasn't in, say, the videos of All or Nothing and things, I bet so many people wouldn't even know him. And if you met him and you started talking to him about football, people would be going, oh, he doesn't know anything. So, well, he obviously does. He's one of the most intelligent people in world football right now. And I just look and go, like, behind the scenes, there is so much work that's done now. Like, it's not like back in the 80s where you just have like a handful of people that run the team. There's a full team of data analysts, a full team of scouts, there's a full team of physiotherapists and people in biomechanics, and there's people in, it's an amazing industry of how it's grown and how it's become like so specific and in depth now. And at the top, you have one individual in Arteta at Arsenal who's making the final decisions, but he's making informed decisions from all these other professionals. And I think that just completely escapes people at times. They've got no idea. No idea.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying I know nothing compared to those people at
but
all.
it's just yeah, it's so true. Like I feel like the first step of it is genuinely just people being more open to other people. Like I do think I don't know about other countries having this, and I'm sure there is a certain extent of it considering the history of football. Like I feel like if it's other things, it's not as bad. But this does happen in all walks of life. Like I watch a Call of Duty professional podcast, and there's 5 people on it. 4 of them are
You have
former
mentioned it.
pros. 3 of them are former world champs, and one guy on there's not a world champ. He's just a normal guy. He was a producer, and then he's like friends with them. And like I think some of his opinions are faded, but the amount of disrespect he gets because he didn't play COD at the highest level, which isn't a hard esport or a hard game to learn by any means. Okay, there needs to be some skill, but it's not hard. And like he gets disrespect because people are like, well, you didn't plan. I'm like, the first, like, you can maybe not think of their opinion as high as other people. I think that's fair, but you've always got to listen to people, and if they speak well and they're honest and they're respectful, I think it's fine. and I just feel like. I do feel like in this country, especially, we are a miserable country a lot of the time. And I do find it really hard to just get anywhere sometimes. Like, I feel like, most people my age can't even get jobs now because they'd rather just pick someone for experience, even if and also they think that like younger people are going to be too ambitious. That's an old thing now where they think they're going to use it as a stepping stone, which is so fine. But like, if if they are, that's fine. Like they are younger,
Yeah.
like they have ambition, I'd hope. Like, I just think, I don't know. Like it's just like a personal thing for me. Like I don't expect people to like listen to me and respect my opinions, but I want people to hear me out sometimes. And I feel like people just being like, oh yeah, you're younger, so your opinions matters less is just absolutely stupid. But I mean, I'm biased, I guess, but it's my opinion.
Mate, no, I am with you. Well, that got deep there, mate. Let's go on something a bit more positive because I feel that's been a bit negative. So, Fabrizio Romano put out that Saka and Saliba are in new deal talks. Apparently going very well, according to Arteta. He said talks are very, very good. The good thing here is the players want to remain here. They want to be a big part of the history of this football club. Now, I saw somewhere that the wording wasn't that they were in talks or negotiations were going well. It was something along the lines of like about to sign. So it looks really good. About 300 grand mooted as well for their wages. Now, last week, someone put a comment, actually. I need to ask you about this.
I
said,
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Did you see it?
I think so. Yeah.
It was about the Aubameyang deal. And they said, oh, because you said, oh, you should never give, 300 grand to a player at that point in their career and et cetera, et cetera. And they had a little rebuttal and said that, well, what about Salah and Van Dijk? Would you have done that? Like, would you have done that? Would you have given them those deals?
Well, it depends what their contract is at the end of the day. Like it's a very different situation with Aubameyang because Aubameyang was basically our best player. We had barely any good players around him at the time. Like
And we were
Lacazette
not
was
going to challenge.
already washed, and like Aubameyang's contract was ending, right? And we had to re-sign him. That's where I have the problem. Salah's contract went until he was about 32 at that point. So he's already into his contract. And then he just come off the golden boot season where he's the best player in the world. And they just re-signed him on a deal for 2 years. Like a deal where he was on relatively the same amount of money. And it was just kind of like, oh, we need this in our new era to go over. I think Van Dijk,
Yeah.
I've more of an argument for defenders. If that, like, defenders is fair enough to an extent, but not many defenders are Van Dijk. Like Aubameyang is not Van Dijk or Salah. Like there's levels. Like Aubameyang was a good player. Salah's like one of the best wingers of like the Premier League history, and Van Dijk's like one of the best defenders of Premier League history. Like I don't maybe like as like a standard point of being like you shouldn't do that. I think I would still agree with that, but I do think obviously, like I said, there's always context, there's always different situations that do change. I think if our team, you said right now, if any of our players got to 30, 31 and their contract ended, we should give them 300k. I think Saka's probably Saliba and Saka are probably the only two. Like Gabriel is 27.
Ironically, same positions as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that is, but they are like currently like the best, some of the best in the world in their position. If they're still at that level when they're that age, then I'd be like, that's a consideration I would have. I just never felt like at the time like Aubameyang was that level. I also did see I got a comment saying that like you got a comment that said that why am I saying Kulusevski a kid? Is he the same age as me? No, he's 2 years younger than me actually. So no, actually he's actually quite a lot fitter. I can say it now. So.
I mean, for me, I mean the Van Dijk and Salah thing in terms of their wages, they weren't on a sharp decline. So I think if a player's had a year that you're looking at and going, oh, they haven't been quite the same, then I would say, yeah, I'd argue it's not a good idea. I think also if they got major injuries, so like a De Bruyne, I don't think you give him a new contract because it's not going to work out well. They're not gonna play enough to, warrant those wages, regardless of what they've done in the past. In terms of like right now, Saliba and Saka, they have to be paid that. If they're not paid that, they will leave. And I don't care how much Saka loves the club and has, a real affinity towards the club. He is one of the world's best wingers, and he should be paid accordingly. Like I just, it's
I
not
don't think
complicated.
Saka's ever gonna leave. I can't lie. I just never.
No, I don't think he will. But
can't see him.
if say you get, if like say a Real Madrid come calling, and they're looking and they're going, well, actually we need like a real right winger, and we need someone that's a workhorse and will put in the hard yards because no one else does. It's hard to turn down when you've got, say, 1 year left in your contract and you're not getting paid. You're looking around and going, well, hang on, Kai Havertz is getting paid a hell of a lot more than me. Like, and you look at your peers and you go, well, look how much like Yamal's getting paid, or look how much this play. Well, I've seen it far too many times.
He does need to stay fit though. Like if he's injured, like again. He can't be asking for this sort of money without him playing half the season. Like that is a worry for me right now. Like
But I think you look at the age of him right now, and then you kind of go, okay, we should be all right.
I think it's fine, but I feel like we should do Saliba first, and we should wait a bit because I do think it is like I think we've got the security. I think Saka will just sign anyway. At least now in that position. I also think with Saka as well, with his they are worrying me a little bit. His injury concerns do worry me. Like, I get it's a different thing, but even when he plays, he just looks a bit sluggish sometimes. I don't even have to explain it. Like, it just does not feel like he's comfortable yet. Like, and I don't feel like I felt like he's been comfortable at all since he come back from injury. Like, he played relatively well against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, but that's about it. Like, I don't really think he played brilliant in any of these games. And like,
I think he's hesitant about getting, another injury. I genuinely feel like he's playing like within his means at times. and thinking like, oh, and I've done it myself. I know exactly what it feels like in thinking, oh, if I stretch that extra inch, if I go into this challenge, and quite often that's when you end up getting injured anyway, because you're not, full pelt.
It is weird, yeah. Because even against Leeds, I don't feel like he sprinted the entire game, and he sprinted once and got injured. I genuinely felt that, and I felt
that one was so weird. He
yeah.
flicks the ball off and just pulls up. It's not like
I don't know.
odd one, isn't
He
it?
just looks very stiff, and I get there's definitely a certain like hesitancy there. I 100% see that. I just a bit worried right now. Like I'm worried that this might plague him because he didn't get injured. He was overplayed for loads, then tore his hamstring completely. Now he's pulled the other hamstring. I know he's going to be back in training next week or whatever it is. It's just a bit of a worry. Like Saliba, like I saw someone say that like he's not. He's literally fine. He's barely ever been injured. Like other than that end of season like years ago, but that's ages ago now.
The back injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you expect stuff like to happen. Like it's like with Havertz. Like Havertz had no injuries, and he had this hamstring, came back pretty early, got this little one now. Like I can maybe do that, and maybe with Saka as well. I'm giving him that leeway there, but Saka did play way too much. Or arguably Havertz played way too much as well. So I do think I worry a little bit about it, but. Yeah, I get what you mean in terms of like that. The problem is Real Madrid are only going to sign. The only team I think he'd go to is Real Madrid because Barca are bankrupt. Bayern are like not going to pay anywhere near the money.
Hang on. Bankrupt.
Well,
they
are.
Always seem to find some money somehow.
Yeah, somehow, but not like this amount of money. I think like PSG could be an option, but PSG are like Doué, Barcola. They're not going to bother with like this player. So Real Madrid, in my eyes, is the only team he could ever go to, and they have just bought loads of youngsters on the right wing in, like Mastantuano's there. They still got Gula, so maybe it's harder. But also they only
go to a city.
No, I mean I don't think I think he'll only ever go to Real Madrid, and I don't think that they'll just wait for his contract to run out. It's funny. They had no interest in Mark Guehi, and then as soon as he's got 1 year left and Liverpool didn't make that signing, it's like, oh, Real Madrid want Mark Guehi. It's like they've just got a list of players, and they're waiting, and they're going, if this goes over this date, they've got 1 year left, and then they just put their
I reckon they're just playing Football Manager each year. They've just put on filters, haven't they? And they've gone, who's almost out of contract? Oh, now
they're like they're some bankrupt poor team.
It's mad, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's obviously it's a very good thing for the club, but getting those two signed up to new contracts. We need to do it. You got to keep your best players at the club. Otherwise, we've seen it far too many times. Otherwise, you do regress. You just do. Finally, our last little bit. We've got Nottingham Forest coming up. Tomorrow?
Yeah, it's in the morning.
Just quickly. Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a weird one. I've got a bit of a mad rush tomorrow as well. Who are you playing? Let's run through the team. Who are you playing?
I'm going to go Raya. I don't know if you've heard about him. Also, I want to say quickly, like, I do think it is... Wait, you go for me. Give me a sec. Hello?
This is so professional. I love it, mate. I mean, yeah, David Raya in goal, obviously. Apparently, Ben White might be back. He could be back, so that could be interesting. But I think Calafiori has to be at left back. He's the obvious choice. He has been absolutely incredible so far this season. He is our player of the season so far. 3 games in, nevertheless, but he is. Centre-back pairing would be Gabriel and Mosquera. I think Mosquera right now has shown he's ready for the Premier League. He just is. He was incredible. And Saliba should not be rushed back. That's just clear as day. And right back, you're in Timber, I would presume.
Oh, my God.
Hello. There's no injury concerns, is there, to Urian Timber, as far as I'm aware?
No, I think Ben White's back, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. But again, I wouldn't rush him back yet. But
I think
it's brilliant to have him back.
I do want to say, I'm guessing you might have seen snippets of it, of the big conversation that Arteta had with that basketball guy, and I find it funny because
Mark Hare.
And yeah, I find it quite funny in it that in the interview he was saying that he was being quite honest about things, and I thought it was quite funny. And then in the press conference yesterday or today, as we're recording this, it was so funny that he was just so I don't know. He wasn't annoyed. He was trying to be funny about things. But in the interview, he said, "I want to be more funny and have more fun." And then in the press conference, he was going at people's throats a little bit, like the Raya comment made me laugh so much because there's so much what I'm like. By the way, like I'm so much like that when like sarkingly, I'll just mention something like, "Oh yeah, well I didn't do that right, did I?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, Brian's, oh yeah, best like clean sheets in the history of the club." He's like, "Yeah, I got criticised for that, didn't I, when I signed him?" And I thought that's so funny, man. I was
Yeah.
like, I want that side of Arteta more than the like, responsibility throwing away that he does sometimes, and like the annoyed because when Arteta is very, very like gets heated, and when the game ends, he is very much like shifts blame on other people, and then a week later he'll be like, "Oh yeah, this was wrong." Like he's
Hands
so
up.
much
Yeah.
like that, and I hate that about him. Like I hate because he throws players under the bus sometimes, and I think it genuinely just comes from pure frustration. And I get it. Look, I watch Martinelli for 90 minutes, and I want to throw myself out the window. Like I completely understand, but
I think that, like, when I have to do the instant reaction on the Canon podcast, like, I have to really just take a second and calm before I go because I'm just, it's so hard to think clearly. But when you're the manager of the team and you're the one who's been instructing the players to do certain things and they obviously have not done those, oh,
no, yeah,
it
no,
must
that
be
I could
infuriating. And
not
then
live
you've got
like
someone who has no idea what they're talking about, asking you these stupid questions. Like,
I
oh,
could not live like that's what I say
God.
about managers. Like, I do all the tactics, the coach, and everything. But when it comes to the actual games, like when I play Football Manager, you should see me. Like one of my well, I used to play like, online save with my friends, and they're like winning 2-0, and I'm going through like a bloody most stressful period of my life. And like one player like makes a mistake in like the 10th minute, and I'm like, that's it, you're coming off. I get so angry, and I'm so angry. And I'm like, I can't imagine me for 90 minutes in real life, like being on the touch. Like, oh, I'd be like.
Yeah.
Stan Arteta's a small little man, bless him. I mean, he's not
Mate,
going to
I
really
do
help.
youth football coaching and that's hard enough. And the children. So you've got to embrace mistakes. And to be fair, a lot of the time, like I want them to go and make mistakes. Like go make mistakes now, so you don't later in life. Like go and make the mistakes. At least try. Like go and try. I don't want you reserved and not actually going and trying these things. But it's so funny, isn't it? Like being on the side of the pitch there at times I'm like, oh, like why have you done like why have you passed it across your box? Why have you like just simple things? Why have you not like just put your head up and made it like, squared it across the box or whatever it may be? That's something recently I've seen. But yeah, to have the pressure of a multi-billion pound company and the weight of all this fan expectation and the media constantly goading you like, oh, it must
Everything's on
be.
him as well. Like, even when other people mess up, it's on him. Martinelli has a
Yep.
poor game. Well, who played him? And it's like, it just comes back to,
Yeah.
like,
It's
I,
you.
I love you crazy. I mean, I feel like I could deal with it, but it's just in game, I'd be stressed like that. Just let someone else do it. Who did you put for the, I'm most interested about who you put in the centre backs for the game.
Gabriella Mosquera. I just
Yeah,
think
right. There's no point. There's no point. Saliba, we need to. This is what we said at the start of the season. We need to rotate. If Saliba
exactly.
is just come back. I mean, we've also got Bilbao on Wednesday, or I think we play on Wednesday. Like, if Saliba wants to play that game, play him in that game. Like, you could even in that game rest Gabriel, and then we could play like Hincapié for his full debut,
Yeah.
or Miles can play a left back. Something fun like that. Like, I think Mosquera was absolutely class against Liverpool. I think his passing at the first 10 to 20 minutes was a little bit like he was hitting it too hard, but he was making cool passes. Like he loves going centrally. Like every single pass he does is like into the middle. Like he really, really like our central progression was way better straight away. I was like, oh my god, this guy loves it.
He
So
tries the hard passes.
yeah, and that's why like
Like
when he makes a mistake with them, you're like, you know what? At least you tried that pass though, because you've given him the benefit of the doubt because he took that threat. And I mean, look, you're a
at
young player.
Anfield.
Yeah, and
Like, do you know what I mean? That's mad.
And I mean, it's super good that Saliba's back. Like, and that we literally missed him for no game. Like, missed him for one game basically. But Mosquera, genuinely great. Like, I think a game like Forest as well actually benefits him quite a lot, I feel like, because, well, I don't know. I have no idea how Forest are going to play, bear in mind, because of Ange. I've absolutely no clue. Like, I think they might go more conservative just because it's the first game. He's been there for 4 days, but Ange is Ange, and he does Ange things. So,
I don't think they will. I think they'll just go for it.
but
I
like
genuinely think.
at the end of last season, he actually started going conservatively and they actually played better. That's why they won the Europa League. So I wonder if he'll like actually
Yeah,
learn
that is
that.
true.
And it's also weird because this season Forest have been playing a more possession-based style compared to last year, like way more. But they played 3 games with Nuno and they got a new manager. So it's like, will they just give up? But then they've bought more possession-based players. Like Elliot Anderson, that guy's so good, man. Like one of the best English midfielders out there right now. So
Yeah, really
I
is.
think for me, I agree. Mascara has to play. Well, it doesn't has to play. Let me play Libris, whatever. But
Calafiori keeps his space for now.
Oh yeah, he's been brilliant. He was also excellent for Italy, and then Italy took him out of the team, and they bloody won 5-4 without him. And I was like, why is he on the bench? But I was happy he was on the bench. I was like, oh, he's rested.
Yeah.
I do want to see Hincapié come on though, because I do want to mention that, like, obviously a little bit of every international game, like. Ecuador are like the best defensive team in the world. They conceded in their 18 qualifier games. Bear in mind, they're playing Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, like good teams, not like Malta. They literally conceded 5 goals in 18 games and kept 11 clean sheets in a row now in all their games. And Hincapié is one of the major parts of that team. Like Pancho as well. I love Pancho. I mean, he's actually really good for PSG. Like, he's part of it as well. But they've done such a great job. Like, they had 10 men. I think it was 10v10 actually against Argentina. Argentina have won the whole thing by far. Brilliant dominant display. He looked like so much like Ben White in that game. They came second overall in the entire qualifying from Ecuador, which is, I mean, it was like they were at 1 point of 5th, which is like Brazil, but like it's so close. And like defense is their like thing, and he has been super good, super aggressive. I love to see him.
I liked him with McAllister. Like, let's get that going already. Like,
I was like, he's already ready for it. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. This guy's gonna be beefing everyone. He is literally so like Ben White. Like, even how he stands up on the ball and like moves, he's like weirdly like Ben White. It's so weird, but I'm excited to see him. I'm sure he'll come on for his debut. You know, we've got options now. Calafiori's been excellent this season, deservedly our player of the month. And I'm glad. Calafiori having a good run in the team is brilliant. Also, I looked at Italy's team and I was like, oh my God, he's the only player I like. Like, I like Barella as well, but they're like the only 2. And I'm like, everyone else makes me hate myself.
They've really had a fall from grace, haven't they? Nevertheless, same midfield in terms of Rice and Zubimendi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rice has played way too much, though. Like, Rice is... Like, I was watching the England game against Serbia and I was like, bro, this guy has to run the entire pitch all the time.
I do worry. And I wonder if you leave him out. Like, do you know what? Let's just run through this quickly. So those 2, Odegaard comes back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he looked good.
I mean, yeah, they did win. It was so funny. Who did they won 11-1? I think it was against Moldova. It might have been someone else.
Yeah.
But they were like 5-1 up at half time. And I was like, well, okay, let's bring Odegaard and Haaland off. Nope. No, Richard's not bringing it away. They bring him off the whole time. Haaland came off the last minute and then Odegaard play. I was like, you're 10-1 up. But why is he still on the pitch?
They look like they're going to qualify for the World Cup as well, don't they? Which is massive.
Football Manager 2024 had Norway like literally win the Euros every time, and they never even qualify for it in real life because their talent is so good.
I do worry about. Well, do I? I don't know. Maybe this is a bit harsh. I worry about how he's going to react to the end of the season, Odegaard, because if you are going to captain your nation in the World Cup, there's almost like that self-preservation of, I don't want to miss this. I don't want to put my... And I do worry about what he'll be like in terms of just mentally. Is he going to be in that headspace? If we're in a run-in and it's really tight, is he going to be in that headspace? I don't know.
I think he's the most... I think actually that's a really good argument to make with a lot of players. I think Odegaard's like the most professional guy in our team. I think he's one I don't worry about too much. Some other players I might have, maybe not in our team too much. I feel like we've got some good heads, but
yeah,
I feel like Odegaard is not. I feel like if anything, Odegaard doesn't lack his mentality. I think his mentality is like insane.
Well, that's interesting. I think we'll come back to that maybe at the end of the year. That'll be an interesting chat, mate. Out on the left, Eze for me.
Has to be. Like, he should have started against Liverpool, in my opinion. I didn't hate Martinelli. It's more conservative. You know, I get it with Calafiori. You want him to defend. I've spoken about it in about 4 videos now. Like, I'm talking about it so much. Like, everyone knows my opinions about Martinelli. I've been quite critical. But now it has to be Eze. I'm super excited to see Eze, like, Odegaard, Rice. Like, we should have a lot of creative work there. Like, Eze can be the main creator. Calafiori is also like Harvey did a great video about Calafiori and his brilliance, and like he's been excellent. And like we should have a lot of creative work against a team that like. I mean, not for us as defender, but Milenkovic got sent off against us for England, which is a bit crazy. And Murillo is a crackhead, but they are good defenders. But like, I just find it really fun to put in there. I will say with Rice as well, his game against Serbia was insane. He had 7 shots and got 2 assists.
The guy, where does he get his energy from?
He should. I can't believe he even had 7 shots. He should have scored like 3 of them. But I was like, I couldn't believe like this guy's like. Well, I was like, finally, England have realised that if you just let Rice do the things he does at Arsenal, like pushing up and getting into the box and being that guy, like is that second ball player, rather than being deep on a single pivot, he's better. And just get someone like Anderson in who can just sweep up and run around loads.
Yeah.
And so much England just looks so much better with them two in both games. I felt like I was really happy with that. And Rice was just excellent again. His set piece deliveries are incredible. And finally, England. I was saying in the Euros last year, why is he not taking set pieces for England? Because he is undoubtedly one of the best. And now Tuchel's realised that that's the way. He's like 100%. Like I don't. If we get
not
set
difficult though, is it? Let's be honest. How on earth are professionals not picking up on that?
It's because the problem is though, it's like Foden's useless from corners as well because he's small and not really like. So they're like, oh, well, it's like what we used to do. We used to put Trossard on corners because we're like, oh, you're useless in the box. But then we realised we can use him as a blocker eventually, and he actually was pretty good as a blocker. Like, a lot of Gabriel goals you'll see back in like 2 years ago from Trossard blocking. But it's just that sort of thing. You're small, you got good technique, cross. Like I feel like that. I genuinely don't think they think about it that hard, which they should, but they don't.
Your Crow's up front.
Yep, no options. Marino?
And
his hat-trick is unbelievable, by the way. His hat-trick is unbelievable.
I know. He looks so good.
But the thing is, I was saying this in my to myself earlier. I don't know, I could have just said something else there.
Okay.
But like with Marino, a lot of the things I like by him is more like against Liverpool, he was used as a player to help us get from the third phase to the second phase, i.e. we get past the first press of the 2 attackers and the wingers, maybe. Yep. And that worked. Like I did see people saying that was Arsenal's build-up a little too complicated because we had all these players coming back to get us past that first phase, and then we had no access to get past the second phase of the 2 DMs and then the centre back. Like no people in between that because Marino was coming deeper, Calafiori was coming deeper, even Martinelli was coming deeper. And I do agree with that. I think that helps you keep possession and keep the ball and like kind of move up slowly. And I think that's why we did it. Didn't particularly work. But I think with Marino, for his instance, he is better in between the pockets. So he's in between the strikers in the midfield and in between the midfield and the defenders. He is best. But the problem is, if you're not going to be able to progress the ball through that midfield, he has to come back and do it. Then I think it limits him because he is just a better attacker than a defender. And I think for Spain, something that's really like apparent is not only their wingers are very good at this, but Pedri, for instance, is someone that will take players on, will go past that second phase in the middle and then create that space. And then all it allows Marino to do is be at the edge of the box and in the areas he wants to be and not worry. He can be that extra man. He doesn't need to be a guy that is sitting there, helping us with build up. So I think like that's not even like a problem with him. I think if Marino is in an Arsenal team, be it a midfield, be it up front, maybe up front I can maybe limit it a little bit, but I still think the same aspects are the same. We need players that are creative around him. He just has to have that. I think against Liverpool, him starting in a 3 in the midfield without an Eze, without an Odegaard, without a Waneri, without a Saka to an extent. Like Madueke is more of an island player that wants to like kind of take people on by himself. I worry a little bit, and I think for Spain it's fine. Pedri, Williams. I mean, Oyarzabal was their striker, and he's just like he kind of plays like a backboard. He just passes the ball off. He's not even that good, but he just does it. And I just worry sometimes Marino, where like I think he's a brilliant option to have, and I think people have realised like we've got this guy for 30 mil, like on the bench. I have no issues. I actually like him up front. I actually would rather him play up front now I think he's a really good option there, and I don't mind it at all for the backup right now. But I just think like if we're gonna use Marino, Odegaard or Eze has to be on the pitch. Now, if you put Marino up front and put Odegaard in a like right centre mid and Eze in left wing, I think Marino's amazing. I genuinely think you'll see so much good work. Probably score loads or create loads, or just get in the right positions. So I wouldn't like hate us to experiment with that. I don't think we will, because I don't think Marino's like the long-term striker option. But maybe in games that maybe matter a little bit less, maybe we might try that a bit.
You're kind of reading my mind here. So with Athletic Club coming up, line up for that for me. Bearing in mind we've got City after, haven't we? Port Vale and then Newcastle, I think it is, and then maybe Olympiacos. But I think you need to start resting players for that, because it's a massive month, which is insane. But because we're right at the beginning of the season, but I do feel like it's a huge month. I think you have to go David Raya. I think it might be the time to bring Calafiori out the Champions League, and I'll explain why. I'm not too worried about playing them. I'm genuinely not. And I think you play probably Timber out right back. I still feel Ben White rushing about too soon isn't a good idea. This might be the time that you then keep Mascara in. You take Calafiori out, you put Miles in, and then Gabriel at this point. Then a midfield of Zubamendi, Eze, and Odegaard, because Miles can enter and he can be that kind of carrier through the middle as well as Eze. Then you can then bring Martinelli out on the left, absolutely fine. You could even, I guess, you could play Hincapié in defence, Marino up top, and then keep Madueke out on the right. And I think that's your chance of, you're not making obscene amount of changes, but enough that you're keeping players who have just had a lot of minutes in their legs recently, or over the the last year or two. You just giving them a bit of rest. We all know like Port Vale will be just a second string team.
Max will start for that in that game.
Yeah. But I think then by the time you go to City, you can more or less play what everyone's ideal 11 would be, with like Saliba, Timber, Gabriel, Calafiori at that point, Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard, Eze, Gyökeres, and at that point Madueke, because I doubt Saka will be back.
I think well, they think Saka might be back for City, but I don't think he should start. I mean,
I don't. I
will
don't.
talk about Madueke in a sec. I do want to say on the thing that you said. I think if against Bilbao specifically, I think Ethan should play. If I'm going to rotate anyone, I actually think Ethan's really set up for Champions League games, and that is the thing. Like, as in terms of what we need right now, and in terms of the squad, it makes sense. But Victor Gyökeres is going to be the Champions League reaper.
And this is the thing, right?
He makes
because as I was saying I think
play.
he's going to be so good in the Champions League.
I wouldn't even hate if we played Marino against City at started, and then we play Gyökeres in the week, and obviously.
Are we away against City? Are we home?
No, it's at the Emirates, I'm pretty sure. So that gives me a little bit of because we're away at Newcastle. So like with that game, I would like Newcastle away. In my eyes, if Gyökeres, it has to be Marino or Havertz or someone else, or like maybe even like a Nelly up front and then false nine. I don't think we can go to Newcastle away and play Gyökeres up front. I kind of don't think we can do it against City, but I think we can at home, given the creative work of other players.
Funny thing is, I think we will. I think Gyökeres just plays and plays and plays.
I think he'll do it against City. I don't know if he'll do it against Newcastle. I feel like I know what. But by then Saka will be back, so it maybe that changes things.
Signed when we played Newcastle in pre-season. I genuinely cannot remember for the life of me.
He wasn't.
Wasn't he?
And Marino was good in that game, so maybe we just play Marino. Like I think now I've seen Marino this season with Spain. I've watched him a bit, and I'm going, yeah, I think this guy has a future. Because at the start I was going, well, where's he going to play? But I think will get minutes. I think at any position. I think striker he definitely will.
I think if Havertz is constantly injured.
Yeah,
it's the obvious choice.
I also think like Nelly can easily play there, Trossard if you have to. We have so many options now, and that's the great thing. Like Ethan as well. I wouldn't play Ethan against Man City or Newcastle, but Bilbao away, Bilbao away, like Bilbao are a decent team. They got to the Europa League last year semis and they lost to Man United, and then the final was at their stadium, which was rough. Williams is injured. Williams is not going to be playing. He's out for the game. He got picked up a knock for Spain. I think in the same
Yep.
game, Marina's got a hat trick. So that is a big interesting thing because also I think one of their other players got like done for cheating or doping or whatever. So it's like there's a lot going on with Bilbao at the moment. I don't really think their team's that good, but there is Spain's a fiery place. Like we played Genoa last year, and Genoa are awful, respectfully, and we won 2-1. We played a pretty bad team, and it didn't really matter. But like I think there's certain levels to it. I would like to see Gyökeres play against Bilbao more than Man City and then Marino against City. And I think,
Yeah, I can see that.
like to end it all, like Madueke, I do want to speak about him a bit because it is funny. The Madueke thing makes me laugh hilariously because I don't think Madueke has done like loads of great stuff so far. I think he's looked promising and there's clearly been some sort of maybe improvement to his game. But even then, I think he's roughly doing the same things he did at Chelsea. It's just that I'm the sort of guy that looks at things like this where someone plays relatively well and I instantly make a video going, this guy's improved, I can see it. But people don't care. Mainstream media don't care. Nope, you need goals and assists. But suddenly, with Madueke, everyone just seems to like be on the bandwagon that he's like amazing, and he is great. But the things he's doing right now for Arsenal, he did last season for Chelsea, especially at the start of the summer before.
Do you think it's because it's like that thing of like you always want something new, and I feel that like almost we talked about the Liverpool game and Arteta getting this ridiculous critique at times about he has to go for more, and at the time I did think we should have put the subs on earlier, we should have gone for it a bit more. I do think Eze should have started regardless. He should have started instead of Martinelli, but nevertheless he didn't. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he's always now going to be punished for the lack of attacking intent, which is hilarious because doesn't Arteta now hold the record for the most goals we scored in the season as manager? I think so. But so he'll always have that now. That'll always be hanging over his head because we're such a good defensive team. And I feel like Madueke's almost, because we haven't had players that are willing to stand up the defender and then go and do it again and again and again. Like Saka does it in a completely different way. I think it's just partly because of that. Like from the Arsenal fan base point of view, I think they're just like, oh, amazing. As someone who's going to dribble. Like,
yeah, the direct play.
just been...
what everyone wanted in Semenyo, we have that at Madueke. But Semenyo's better on both sides. I think Madueke shows a lot on the left. But like ultimately,
he doesn't lose his head when he's in front of goal, like Madueke does. To be fair, his actual goal was...
Semenyo's not like a assured finisher. Like, he is still...
No, but I would say out of the two of them...
I just thought it was funny when I looked at some of the stuff, like especially like Martinelli and stuff, about Martinelli's value and stuff, and I was looking at Madueke, and I was like, he's so determined. Like, people just think things are determined on goals. He scored 7 goals last season. He's crap. So look at his stats, though. Look at his underlying data. He picks the ball up, he runs at players and creates. And, like, yes, the crosses aren't brilliant. I think as a crosser, Madueke's not great, and he needs to improve. Probably my biggest weakness with him. But I mean, both England games, he was one of the best players on the pitch. The Serbia game, he was outstanding in everything he did, and they highlighted it where he's just so he's just so confident and he actually does things. And when you're in a game when you're dying, it's a bit boring, at least he's actually trying. And even against Liverpool, he was actually doing stuff. He's actually taking his man on and trying. It's not going to come off all the time, but at least he did something. And his goal for England is exceptional by everyone, but his movement is so good. Comes inside, passes it, and he just goes around the back and he knows what he's doing, completely outpaces the player. He deserved that goal. Like, I was actually very happy for him. And I just feel like I look at Madueke, like Eze playing attacking midfield in the first game, it really struggled. I felt like inside the block, he couldn't really get the ball, had a few touches and didn't have enough time on it. Madueke was excellent in that game. And I'm like, I think Eze's a better player than Madueke, of course, and obviously everyone does. It could be if you play him in the right way. But I look for England. Madueke's never been bad for England. He's always played well for England in the 9 games he's played. And I was just like, I look at this guy and he's really starring in front of like world-class players around him. There's talents there, and he is the best player on the pitch at times. And I was like, it doesn't surprise me. Everything I've seen by Madueke hasn't surprised me at all. I said to you against Liverpool, I'm not worried about Madueke. I think he'll be fine. He was one of our best players. Like, I think he's an incredible player. I'm super happy to see him get a good run in the team. Like, I don't want Saka to get injured, but I want Madueke to also be able to show his experience, especially with the fact the amount of hate that he got. I want him to be able to show it now, not in 4 months'
It's
time.
almost like the perfect storm for him right now. Like Saka coming out, you've just had Eze coming in because he would not be getting the minutes right now. Like Saka would have been playing out the right. I think Madueke possibly would have got some minutes out on the left.
He
I
might have
still think
started on the
Martinelli
left.
would have started on the left against Liverpool, though. I
Yeah, I
just
think that's fair.
think it's that like tried and trusted recipe that Arteta would go with. But right now, it's almost like, Saka's injury is a blessing for that transfer itself because people are going to look and go, oh, actually, it's not that bad of a transfer
It's
now.
also not a long-term
Whereas,
injury for Saka. Like, he's back, like, next
yeah.
week, reportedly. So it's like, we're missing him for 2-3 games. Like, we can accept that
And
and
if he
play
comes
him.
in now, drips and drabs, say Saka comes back and he's fully fit, and then you start having, Madueke comes on the left for like 10 minutes, and then he goes out on the right for like the final 10 minutes of the game, and Saka's brought out. If he doesn't really do much in those minutes, now the kind of perception is going to be like, oh, it's fine because we know he's capable. We're all happy with that. That's fine. That signing's good. He's a great squad player. We understand why. If he hadn't had this time and this run in the team, God, it'll be lingering. And every time he comes on, if he doesn't do something wonderful, everyone's going to go, well, why have we bought him? We paid 50 million for this.
And the thing is,
Like,
as well, Madueke was starting for Chelsea last season. He came fourth. Like he played
and he's
loads.
a best winger.
Like he plays for England. He just started both of England's games on the right wing, like for Saka. But he started ahead of Bowen, like a guy that's like probably better than him, but he just fits a bit better. And like I look at that and I go like, we play Man City next week. I have absolutely no worries of Madueke starting and playing. And like if Saka isn't fit, if Saka's still not ready, that's fine now because we've got a good right winger in. And like, okay, if Noni comes off like for a sub, we'll probably bring Max on, and then that's exciting in its own way, or Ethan on. Like, and I just don't forget there's just no problems there. Like I've absolutely Saka should literally rest. You just rest. We'll bring you in when you need to and take your time.
100%.
You don't need to play any of these games now. And it's just so exciting. Like, Madueke is a great player, and I've been excited. I'm excited tomorrow to see Madueke, Eze, Odegaard. I think he will play all three. Maybe he doesn't play Eze, but I can't. I think with Odegaard there. By the way, Marino, in terms of pressing against Liverpool, was very, very good. And, not many people can replicate Odegaard's maybe heard him, but his intense pressing and the leadership he has in that. And Marino did a really good job. So, like I said, in the future, if Odegaard's out and you don't want to play Ethan in these type of games, which is fair, Marino coming in and Eze the left wing, I think is fine. I think it's absolutely fine. I think that's more, we could get a lot of out there. And I think tomorrow, I'm excited to see Eze, like Odegaard, Madueke, Mascara. Hopefully he plays as well. Like, I'm excited. There's a lot going on. Hincapie is going to come on for his debut. Hopefully it's longer than like 10 minutes so I can make a good video on it. And it's just so much fun. It's just fun about it. So I just hope.
What a change. Like, if you look at our squad, right, and we're talking about Saliba being out currently, Havertz being out currently, Saka's out. Like, so these are big, big components of our team from last year. And neither of us are, terrified right now. Obviously, if they all had season-ending injuries right now, we'd be talking differently. We'd be going, well, what do we do now? Like, how does this work? But I would say, in terms of our defensive unit, we do. I would completely say we have got the best defensive unit in terms of the entire squad in Europe. We just do. There's no one that comes close. You're like pulling out players. Like, just look at our left back options now, and then our left centre back options. All right, like, it's unbelievable the depth that we have there. And meanwhile, Man City have just had to register Calvin Phillips.
Woo!
And that's how we've been building our squad. And I've always looked at Man City over the last, 5 to 10 years and gone, that's the benchmark. That's how you want to build your squad. And now I think we've overtaken them. I genuinely do. I really do.
Genuinely could lose to United on the weekend. They've got so many injuries as well, which I don't feel sorry for them at all. But it's just crazy to think that we're in this situation. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm very confident. Like, I'm actually really excited. I'm never really excited for Arsenal games because I just feel like, oh my god. But like, I'm excited for the game tomorrow at the moment. So,
Mate,
see how it lasts.
yeah, it's going to be a good one. I don't know if I'm doing the instant reaction or not. I'm hoping that I can just chill. But nevertheless, I know Alex was ill this past week, so you never know. I might be thrown in. Dude, a real long one tonight. What time is it? It's 11:15. And here we are, still chatting away. Thanks for coming on, Reece, as always. Always a wonderful Friday night with you. And it was nice to get a bingo tonight on the Call of Duty one tonight. Unfortunately, no Bundesliga chat tonight.
I did watch the game, to be fair. I didn't mention it, though, because it was, oh my god, it's one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life.
Which one?
Bayer Leverkusen v Frankfurt.
Oh.
The second half, there was 2 red cards and loads of goals, but the first half, I saw 2 of the worst goals I've ever seen.
And Leverkusen won, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did they win? Yeah.
They scored with 9 men.
Get rid of Ten Hag. Amazing.
Well, yeah, but I saw the goals. The game, I can't, sorry, as like a football purist, I can't watch the Bundesliga much. It really hurts my eyes. I love it, but it hurts my eyes. It just really hurts me. I can't do it anymore.
Mate, tell everyone where they can find you.
Wokkles, YouTube, Wokkles Football, Wokkles Analyst. By 700 channels, I'm sure you'll be able to find them.
Just type in Wokkles and he will come up. Yeah. And as for me, everyone knows, Border on Footy on TikTok, Instagram, X, apparently, Twitter. Or Border on Football here on YouTube, obviously. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure having you lot in. And I'm hoping the chat will be ready again by next week, because the last 2 weeks, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on at the moment with our streaming software. We'll have to try and work it out. Until next week, though, enjoy your weekends. Let's hope Arsenal get a win, and take care, everyone. Cheers, all of you.